created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things, but now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have.
What you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing.
You're doing it.
Doing what?
Using your imagination.
Welcome to Metamystics, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Sean.
And today we got Tyler from the Journey to Truth podcast. What it do, my dude? Oh, you muted yourself.
Yeah, I am muted. Okay.
There we go.
What's up, buddy?
What to do? I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks for reaching out and setting this up. And I don't know where we're going to go with this conversation today, but I'm here for it. I love the stuff you've been doing and putting out. I've been kind of scrolling through your channel, and it's right up my alley, of course. And just happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, look, I mean, we created this show a little over 2 years ago because I'm not going to lie, it kind of came out of necessity. On the cult, I kept on trying to always wanting to talk about all the different weird spiritual phenomenons and all that kind of stuff, right? And, you know, whenever you have a co-host that is like a very devout Christian, it's hard to have those kind of conversations open-mindedly, right?
Sure. Of course.
And, you know, rightfully so. You know, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind on anything either. But yeah, so whenever you guys came on, man, that was just, it almost like sparked something in me to where I was like, I gotta do something else, you know, like conversations like that. It was just like, this is the stuff that I am so interested in, because once you look at all of the conspiracies, there's only so far like a conspiracy can take you until you need to start getting a little spiritual with it. You know what I mean? Like,
right. You can either, you have a choice. Either throw it away and like squeeze yourself back into some cardboard cutout version of yourself and go into the matrix, or keep exploring it and use each one of those theories or conspiracy theories as a stepping stone to something greater, because that's where it will take you.
I think it's very interesting, you know, like you guys were saying, as far as like going down these rabbit holes and figuring out how much of reality that you thought was one way, you know, and then come to find out like, oh, there's some extra shit going on, you know, it's definitely not what I thought. And then you turn inward and go, okay, well, what is it about myself that I thought was real and is not, you know? So it's very fascinating.
That's, I mean, dude, the path of self-discovery is like the ultimate quest here. And I think that anybody that actually takes that seriously, I mean, there's some beautiful opportunities there, because, you know, it's a hard path because you have to face your shadow. You have to question everything that you thought you believed in, everything that you identified with, including mundane things that you didn't think were affecting your life, but were. And, you know, it could sometimes, you know, it takes literally uprooting your entire life. Like I had to leave my hometown and move all the way here to Sedona, really for the next step, because I felt like I took my journey as far as I could go in St. Louis. And I felt like I was on a hamster wheel there. I was stagnant. I just knew I had to break free and get out. And since I've left, my life has just changed exponentially in so many ways. And like, I feel like this whole new path has just opened up because I took that leap. I understood where I was at my journey, and it literally required me physically relocating. It's going to look different for everybody, but it's a definitely, if you're serious about it, it requires serious change. You know, change requires change.
100%, dude. And this is how I feel about it. And I'm sure everybody has their own way of going about it, but I just feel like with everything that you take in on a daily basis, like if you're an actual, like a real truth searcher, like you're a real, like, you're trying to get to the bare bones of whatever the truth is, you know, forget the myths, but what's the underlying shit that it's trying to tell us almost, you know? And then even, you know, combining that with all the different conspiracies and the illusions of the world being absolutely pummeled, right? Like, how do you just like look at all of that and then not evolve spiritually along with it? You know, that's the thing that always got me. I'm like, man, how do we just stay thinking the exact same spiritually, even though our understanding of the world and of ourselves is constantly evolving with every day of research?
Right. You know, it's interesting. It reminds me of there's this Australian podcast. I forgot the name of it. I released my book earlier this year, and it somehow caught wind. Somehow these guys in Australia caught wind of it and decided to read it and do an entire episode on my book, which actually was amazing for the launch because even though it was like a semi-hit piece, because they were thought I was a little crazy, it helped my sales a lot. Now I'm grateful for it. But what they said was, you know, they pulled up our website, Journey to Truth, while they were on the episode. And they were just kind of scrolling through some of our stuff. And one of the guys in the show, he's like, these guys remind me of us if we kept going down the rabbit hole. And instead, what they did was they got so far down the rabbit hole, stopped, didn't know what to believe in anymore, and started a podcast to kind of make fun of it all. and at the same time, they're still bringing these topics to people's attention, but they're coming to the conclusion that people are just insane or delusional or whatever it is. And I think that's what we're looking at, because whenever you do start understanding that your reality is fundamentally different than you grew up believing, and you start talking about that, it even, especially when you say it out loud or you try to write a book, it does sound insane. And a lot of people are scared. I mean, humans are scared of not fitting in, right? That's just kind of that's programmed into us. So it really takes that, like, going within and going on that spiritual journey to not be afraid of that, and then be like this trailblazer. Just go out there and step into that spotlight and do whatever you have to do. Be on the front lines of disclosure, whatever it is, and just literally not care what people think. And it's not easy because there are trolls and there are haters and there's a lot of pushback, and it's not necessarily the easiest path, but it's the most rewarding, I would say.
Oh, dude, if you're constantly searching for everybody's approval, you're never going to get anywhere in life. Like 100%. I can't tell you. So I've been podcasting for like 5 years now, right? And if you don't have thick skin to go into those comments and just read people obliterating you on a daily, I don't check it on a daily basis.
I was gonna say I don't even go through them.
Every so often
Yeah.
I'll go and look, you know, maybe there's a little constructive criticism in there. You never know what can help, right? But then there's other people that are just completely whittling you down to you until you're like a pencil eraser. You know what I mean? And there's just nothing left. And
Right.
so, and that's kind of the courage you got to have whenever you're putting yourself out there, whether it is podcasting or, dude, writing a book. I mean, how big of an undertaking was that? Because that is something that we're very curious about potentially in the future.
Yeah, so that was, I don't know where my book is at. It's around here somewhere, but that was one of the hardest things. It literally takes almost, you have to put your life on hold if you're really serious, especially when it comes down to the wire. And if you don't create a deadline for yourself, you're never going to get it done, you know, all these things. But mine was it took a lot of vulnerability to tell my story. It was just my spiritual awakening, but it's not necessarily, some parts of it are very dark. I went through a lot of darkness to even find the light and figure out who I was and what I was doing here and all this stuff. And it takes a lot out of you because you got to relive some of those moments and everything. And you're just emotionally invested in this project, and you release it and you wonder how people are going to receive it. So at one point I had to literally, the last month leading up to it, almost 2 months, I just had to stop doing everything. Luckily, I'm in a position where I work from home and I can do that. And it was winter in St. Louis, and I just wrote and I wrote. And to the point where it almost wasn't healthy. I was like, I need to get up and move. But had I not done that, the book wouldn't have been out on time for the conference we were hosting. And I had set this deadline for myself. But also, whenever you do that, it allows you to shift and go within and dig deep and pour this stuff out onto paper. And you realize it's like a healing process too. So, you know, when you get these stories out and you get it down, it creates space for new things, you know, and then you're not like rerunning these same programs, stories, whatever in your head over and over. Now they're out, and it's like, oh, I can let go of that stuff now. Here it is if I ever want to look at it again, but now I can move forward.
Right. And then, it's strange because, in the mind, I feel like we all kind of have a sense of we haven't figured out, or at least, our own reality, what it all is. Right. And then you get it out on paper. Like you were saying, you're making it tangible, and you can see really how much clearer that is when you can look at it and read it back. And like you said, the space now that you have for new stuff. I imagine writing a book, especially on a spiritual journey and everything that you've been through, is got to be really tough, because I feel like, Jonathan and I, we've been doing this for 2 years. I mean, he's been on his spiritual journey much longer than I have, but I mean, I feel like we're constantly evolving. We're constantly changing our mind and kind of like scrapping things and intaking more things. And so how has that affected you as far as, putting all this information into your book?
Yeah, so I come to the conclusion that I don't know what I don't know,
Yes, dude.
or I know that I know nothing type of thing.
Yeah.
I know a
So,
wise philosopher that said that one time. I
Oh,
can't
yeah,
remember
dude.
where.
Yeah, Socrates, yeah. But I think it's important to not marry yourself to any ideas or beliefs or
Mhm.
anything, because then what you do is you attach your identity to it, and then whenever it gets disproven or debunked, or you just might realize you were just wrong in the
Mhm.
first place, it makes it even harder for you, because now you've made it part of who you are. But if you can detach from that and look at everything objectively with no bias,
Mhm.
it's a much healthier approach. So I wrote my book not trying to convince anybody of anything. I went into the book with that awareness, and I said, look, I want in the forward, I was like, I just want everybody to take this as an opportunity to drop into their heart and feel and feel what this information does to your body. Feel how your body responds to this information, and let your body tell you if it's true or not. Let your heart tell you if it's true. I'm not here to tell you one way or the other. This is just what happened to me. And I know it sounds crazy, but I just wanted to let people know that this is not me trying to tell you this is the truth. In fact, I want people to decide for themselves. I'm willing to be wrong about a lot of things, but at this point in my life, that's what it looked like, and I put it out for everyone to read. And
Mhm.
it's a vulnerable thing to do, but I'm glad I did it.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, you get to a certain point and you're actually okay with being wrong. Like, I have no problem with someone correcting me and telling me, actually, it's like this. And then I can look at that and go, actually, you know what? That does make more sense. Like, the
Right,
more I'm wrong, the more I get an opportunity to learn something. And so, yeah,
right.
we've come a long way, because a long time ago, someone told you you're wrong. That's an attack on your ego.
It's an insult.
That's like a piece of
Yes.
you that you've been, like you said, married to in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sense.
And there's many ego deaths that have came my way,
Hmm.
and you just have to sometimes I still find myself getting triggered. We all have triggers, and there's things but now I don't get mad at the person. I take a moment and ask myself, okay, why am I still getting triggered about this? What surrounding this am I still not okay with?
Hmm.
And then you just have to be real with yourself. And it's constantly keeping yourself in check,
Hmm.
and looking in the mirror and whatever it is. But as soon as you find yourself lashing out or projecting on someone else, then I take that as a sign like, okay, something is out of alignment within me,
Hmm.
and I need to take care of that first. So, and I'm willing to be wrong, but sometimes I've entertained the opposing viewpoints or whatever, and actually it's solidified what I've
Hmm.
come to conclude. It can happen both ways, because I'm like, no, actually, because I've seen this other perspective now, it actually somehow makes what I've believe in, I guess you could say, make more sense. It just depends on what it is, but it's different all time, and it's always changing. And I think reality is always changing.
Hmm.
I mean, just, you can get into timelines, and who knows what history is, and things are like, it's malleable. Time is malleable.
Hmm.
Hmm.
This reality is malleable. We're talking about other dimensions and stuff. So even when people are tapping into information, it's like, where's that information actually coming from? Because we can only see like 1% of our reality, right? So I don't know, man. You just have to understand that anything could be possible.
Yeah, and that's what's so fascinating, dude. We did a real deep dive on just like understanding what happens to the mind and the consciousness and the ego and everything whenever it's on psychedelics, right? And just that kind of stuff, it just blows me away, because for the longest time, people just thought, mushrooms, acid, DMT, whatever, that it was just hallucinations. That's just your mind. It's nothing really. Don't even pay attention to it. And people said the same thing about dreams. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like there's something more there,
Right.
and the people that wake up and they're in sleep paralysis and they're experiencing things that don't seem to be of this reality. It's like that can't just be their mind. Like that's
Right.
and maybe it is, and we just don't understand the mind. Maybe
Right.
that's what it is. But just to whittle it down to it's just a couple of chemicals that are misfiring or whatever in your brain. I'm like, I don't accept that. There's something more.
No. No, I mean, we're living in a multi-dimensional reality as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know what that necessarily means, but I know there's more out there than we can perceive, which means they would be existing in another frequency, which by definition would mean they're in another dimension or density or whatever it is. So if that's the case, then we just simply have to entertain all possibilities. And I've experienced sleep paralysis, but I've woken up and seen physical shadow beings in my room. I mean, that's what my book is about. It starts off about the whole dream warfare and astral experiences, and it goes into at the very end, ironically, is the third part of the book is an entire a download I got from a mushroom trip.
Hell yeah.
But I wasn't going to put that in my book because at first I was afraid, people would think it was nuts. But every time I told the story, everyone was like kind of like their jaw was on the ground, kind of like one of those stories like you got to write that down, you got to tell people this, and it was their reaction. It was everyone else that convinced me to put it in the book. And then once I started writing it down, I was like, oh, I really am. This isn't just like some random thing that happened while I was on mushrooms. This is like a profound spiritual journey that literally taught me things about the universe that I would have never discovered any other way. And it's just such a valuable, a valuable way. So much valuable insight came from that psychedelic experience that you can't write that stuff off as just something crazy because it's not.
Dude, I 100% agree. I mean, there are certain psychedelic, experiences that we've all had, and they all seem more real than real. There's no doubt about it. That
Right.
is something that happened, and I'll never forget it. And the way that it just impressed me from even an emotional standpoint. I don't mean impressed like, wow, it's just like, you know what I'm trying to say. But like the idea
Yeah.
of like what is going on in those things. That stuff is so extremely real. And as a matter of fact, I'm actually driving out to Sean's house tomorrow, and we're going
there.
We're gonna go into that realm. So it's gonna be a fun time. It's been a while. And
It has.
I mean, and that's something that we don't like to do it all the time, because I feel like then if you're doing it all the time, it almost waters it down. Unless you're
Right.
like microdosing or something, that's different. But if you're blasting the fuck off, I don't know, once a week or a couple of times a week, I'm like, man, I almost feel like it takes away from the meaning of what you're experiencing.
Right. And it's also like I feel like it's constantly trying to take the shortcut too. Because I think we can achieve some of this stuff on our own too, through like deep states of meditation and stuff.
Yes.
And I think it's good to challenge yourself and see what you can do without the assistance of some of these plant medicines or drugs. But that doesn't mean like I think I've explored, DMT and mushrooms and stuff, and I've had profound blast off experiences, and I've had the darkest experiences. Sometimes you start, it's almost like this journey, right? Like this hero's journey. You got to like start off in these hell realms and it's like this quest, and you have to like overcome these obstacles, and then you get past that, then you get to like this higher realm where everything's beautiful and it's light, and it's like you're learning about the universe and stuff. But twice I had to encounter my demons first to get past that. So it's like a whole test. Like there's just something to it that's so much more than just a recreational drug. And if you go into it seriously with an intention, I think you can really make some breakthroughs. And I think it's worth trying. And maybe it's not for everybody, but if you're leaning into it, or it sounds like something you want to do, you just, do so responsibly. But
Yeah, I
you know.
think that it absolutely takes a curious mind to want to do it. Like that's not something that you should be ever forced into. That should be something that you kind of, it's your time. You have
Right.
agreed that this is the position in your journey that now is the right time for that kind of stuff. And
Right.
and I mean, and mushrooms obviously a little bit easier than DMT. I mean, depending on the amount of mushrooms that you take, right?
Right.
But like, if you're just taking, 2 or 3 grams of whatever hydroponic mushrooms or whatever, it's going to be a good time. But
Right.
you eat a handful of those fucking things and you never
Yeah,
know what kind of entities you're going to meet.
I did the handful. I did like over twice the recommended dosage from the person I bought them from, and I don't remember even specifically which kind they were because I don't know much about mushrooms. But um, I went in with an intention, but it didn't start off well. And in fact, I went immediately to what I would call the hell realms. Like it was like this very it was very stereotypical hell, like what we've seen depicted in Hollywood and stuff. And I encountered Lucifer, like this entity, like literally walked up to me, and it's a whole long story. That's why I wrote in the book. But I'm telling this because it was so real. First of all, my body was like melted on the couch. Like the world could have ended, and I wasn't moving from the couch. Whatever, let it burn. Because I just couldn't get. I physically couldn't get up. That's how gone I was. And I just was leaving my body. But it was so real, my mind didn't know the difference. And I actually was having heart attack symptoms because I was stuck in this hell realm, right? And I couldn't get out, and my body didn't know the difference. And like I was like my hand was going numb and all stuff. I'm starting to panic. And every time I closed my eyes, I was back there. I couldn't get out of it. And I finally was able to somehow leave my body and look at myself laying on the couch. And I was like, "Oh, you're just on the couch, Tyler. You're not in hell. You just took mushrooms. You're on the couch. It's okay."
Uh,
So I was able to like actually like have an out of body experience and look down on my body, and that's how I was able to calm myself down out of it. And
wow.
it's a whole long story how I actually got pulled out of that, but it was real. Like it was so real that my physical body was reacting to it, which tells you something.
Oh
Dude, I can't
man.
even imagine. Like,
Fuck.
needless to say, going through a hellish type of experience, but jumping out of your body. And then, like, after you have that type of experience, I feel like it would be hard to be talked out of that. Someone can tell you, oh, you're not actually going out of body, but I imagine you feel like you actually were out of body.
I mean, as far as the way I remember it, there's no other way to tell the story. Like I
Hmm.
literally was looking at myself laying on the couch, and and I was able to remember that I was on the couch and not literally trapped in this hell realm. That's what it was for me.
Mhm.
Whatever, if that was all just in my head or whatever, it's up for interpretation, I guess.
Right.
But that's the way it
I
happened,
mean, if that's the case,
Right.
then every single thing that you experience in reality is all in your head too. You
Well,
Right.
know?
yeah,
Yeah. Right.
It's
it's
like,
all
how do
mental.
we discern even that at that point? I think that, look, if all we are is consciousness and these meat suits are vehicles for said conscious, I don't think that necessarily the spirit or the consciousness necessarily needs to sleep or necessarily must stay attached to our body and,
Right.
within our awareness. I think that it can just go off. That's probably what's happening in dreams. That's probably what's happening in psychedelic trips and meditations and everything, right?
Right.
And
Right.
there's just something really magical about that too. Once you really like, dude, you keep a dream journal and like wake up and start writing in that thing every single morning, the dreams become more insane. Like
Hmm.
just your ability to retain your dreams. And I've kind of been slacking on that here lately. I'm not going to lie, but easier said than done. Cause sometimes you wake up, you're like, I don't feel like doing anything, and
Hmm.
it was a pretty mid dream anyway. Do I really need to write that one down? Then you're just talking yourself out of it.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, dude. So you said that you were experiencing basically hell with Lucifer. Do you think? And I have no idea either way. To be honest with you, I'm just asking. Do you think that those are subconscious archetypes of your mind that you've built of hell and of Lucifer? Like, have you thought about it that way at all?
Oh yeah, 100%. I've had that same thought. I was like, either my mind is showing me the stereotypical hell that I was programmed to believe in. Um, or this is really what it looks like. Like that was just like the two conclusions I came to. And it started off where I was like in this, it was this cavern system, and there was like this flowing magma, this like you would see in the movies. And I was following this, I was like, almost like astral projecting, right? You're not really in your body. And I was following this magma flow, and I came to this like cave entrance with three-headed dog Cerberus who guards the gates of Hades hell. And it was this whole like standoff between me and the dogs. And then they like almost turned their head like they were getting orders from like something else. And then they just stepped out of the way. And then I went through this cavern, and it was like this whole long tunnel with like this orange light at the end of it. And it was dark, and I just kept going through, and when I came out, it was a massive underground city, basically, with like catacombs, like these dwellings in the cave walls, but like as far up and down as you could see. And in the center was like this portal where these demons were like flying in and out of. And like every monster you can imagine in a scary movie, a cartoon, everything in a comic book, everything you've ever seen, it was real and it was there going in and out of these portals. And then this giant guy with red skin, like literally the stereotypical Lucifer, like almost like I know he presented himself that way just because that's how I would recognize him. He approached me and he said something along the lines of "Welcome to my home," and I'm Lucifer, and he goes, "You might know me as," and he morphed into an Anunnaki, like one of those winged Anunnakis. He goes, "You might know me as Enki," and he started like morphing into these different beings from our history, right? And it was like he was just showing me all of his forms, how he's been depicted over the years. And then he was like, basically a whole long story. He's like, "Come with me." And he took off and flew through that portal, and I followed him. And then we were like astral projecting over the United States. And we went to, it was like a southern state, maybe Alabama, Arkansas, I don't know. And we went over this small town, and we were like hovering over the town. And then he like somehow was able to zoom in reality, like he had a remote, and he zoomed in on the people, and then like pushed his button, and they became translucent, like I could see through their skin.
What?
And
Oh my
then
God.
and then he zoomed in even more, and I could see all these people crawling with parasites. And
Oh.
and he goes, "That's how the devil dances." And I was like, "What is that?"
Oh.
And he said, "They're hookworms." And he's like, it's not an accident that Americans love their bacon." And he said, "Pork is infested with hookworms, and hookworms control your mind."
Oh
And
my
I'm
he
done
said,
eating
"This is,"
bacon. I'm done. No more.
and he was like, "This is how we control you. This is how we do it." And then like everybody, virtually everyone had parasites of some form. I was seeing like through their skin, right? Then we flew literally to Washington, D.C., and like over the White House, and like we went into the building, there was all these politicians and congressmen. And then he did the same thing, except they weren't infested with parasites. They were parasites.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And he said humans are not running your world. And it was literally just showing me like it's this parasitic thought forms are real. So if you have parasites in you, they can control your mind. They
Right.
can give you negative thoughts. They can convince you to kill
Holy
yourself or
shit.
whatever. And basically I don't know why, like he was showing me his hand. I'm thinking, why is he showing me this? But then, any powerful person, they like to brag about what they can do. And it felt like he was just bragging about what they were doing, and we were too stupid. He was like, "You humans will believe anything," and it was just going on and on. And
I mean, he is known as the light bringer,
right.
So maybe
Why
it
would
was
he tell you all this? It's like doing you a
Yeah.
favor almost.
Yeah. So then we came back. We went back. Next thing I know, I'm back in this, like through the portal in the same place where I met him. And then I'm like, I need to get out of here. And I'm like trying to fly around, trying to find a way out. And that's when I couldn't get out. And I thought I was stuck there. And that's when I started like trying to open my eyes on the couch. I was back into my body, and I was like having this heart attack. And every time I closed my eyes, I was back there. But then all of the creatures that were there, they were like closing in on me, and they were just like closing in on me. And I was like, oh shit! And I was like getting scarier and scarier, and I really thought they were coming to kill me. And like thought I was having this heart attack, and I'm leaving my body. It was intense. What saved me was my phone rang. My phone rang, and my girlfriend called me. And I answered it. I was somehow able to answer it during the mushroom trip, and it like broke the whole thing. And I explained to her I was trying to explain to her what was happening. She was laughing because, what does that sound like to somebody on the other end? And she's an artist, and she draws like light language and stuff, and she does all this artwork.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
she's like, here, look at look at one of my paintings. And I looked at one of them. She sent it to me via text. And I looked at one of them, and I could see like this amazing like coding and this like it was almost like her painting itself was this portal to another dimension or something. And as soon as I did that, it just like pulled me right out of that hell realm up into this higher, like heavenly realm.
Wow.
And then she was like, well, look, and then I was like decoding her artwork that she was like channeling. She didn't even know what it was. And I was like telling her what I was seeing in each piece, and it was like this whole beautiful thing. And that's how it pulled me out of it. And there's so much more to this. I'll be here all night. I can keep telling you the whole thing
Dude.
if you want, but
I mean,
I'll
hey,
stop.
we're here for it, dude. This sounds
I
awesome.
am. Yeah, dude.
So, yeah, there's a lot to remember. It was a lot easier to put it down when I was writing.
It's
A lot
actually
came
pretty
back.
damn amazing that you're able to recall that much of it, because I feel like every time I trip, I can remember bits and pieces of it, but I can't remember scene after scene after scene like that. Like, that is pretty good retention there, dude.
Yeah, I was tripping for 12 hours. Dude, I took so many. I took so much. Like,
How many grams, real quick, not to cut you off, but how many grams do you think it was?
I don't know, 5 or 6 grams maybe. Like,
Okay. All right.
Yeah, normally I know that they say that if you're trying to do like a good normal trip is normally a quarter of an ounce, or
right.
is it a quarter or an eighth? I'm sorry. Yeah, you take an eighth, which is 3.5 grams. And like if you're trying to really blast off, then you go 7, right? Or
Yeah,
6 or 7, somewhere in there.
It might have been 6 or 7. Like I actually don't know. I didn't weigh it. I just had this bag,
Yeah, and everybody's different how
Right.
everybody reacts. Like I
Right.
tripped with one of my buddies where I took we have our favorite psychedelic of choice is called 4-ACO DMT. And it's basically a mix of mushrooms and DMT, right? It's very similar effects if those two
Right.
met and just like had a baby. But it only lasts for 3.5 hours, which I love because I can't stand no 7 or 8 hour trip. That's too damn long.
Right.
It's like, who wants to have sex for 8 hours? Sex is
Right.
awesome for a couple, you know what I
Right.
mean? But 8 hours,
Right,
come on,
right.
give me a break.
Yeah, and that's what was so intense about it, because it was so long, and it was exhausting, and I couldn't get out of it. And like the phone call with my girlfriend was like helping bring me up to these realms, but then we hung up, and it didn't stop. Like I was just in it, right? And then I found myself literally floating above, like in space, like I was above the planet. Like that's what it was like to me. And I was tapping in. I felt like I could ask anything, like I was in the Akashic Records or something. I could just ask any question and have it answered. Like I just had all information at my fingertips, is what it felt like. So I'm big into like researching the secret space program and all this stuff. And uh, show me if the secret space program is real. Like, is that bullshit or is it real? I want to know. And then I just saw the Earth being encompassed by this black cloud. And then they said the word cancer. And I was like, what's that? And they said, anything birthed in secrecy is not of the light. It's a cancer to the planet. It doesn't matter if there's advanced technology, what they think they're doing. Like this has become a cancer to not just the planet, but the solar system. All these black budget programs and everything that they're doing that they've been covering up. It's apparently it's acting like a cancer to Mother Nature, who is just trying to be this whole organic, loving being, and she's being like raped and harvested of oil and all this stuff, whatever. So I was like, okay, I didn't really get the answer I wanted, but that's what they showed me. I was like, oh, I guess it's real if they're saying it's a cancer. And then I was like, is there life on Venus? Just stupid shit, you know? And then I saw Venus, and then they was zooming in on the planet Venus, and then it just disappeared. And they said, whoever I was talking to,
Hmm.
they said, um, what you believe you create. If you believe there's life on Venus, there's life on Venus.
Yeah.
Venus, and I said, why did it disappear? So Venus only exists because you and the collective of the planet believe it exists. You create it. Like it got real, like philosophical, like esoteric, like it started getting real deep, you know?
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so we create a reality, right? Whatever. And it was just, it was just more, I forgot there's other stuff. But the big thing was I ended up, I found myself in like this realm that felt like heaven, like this, like was it just nothing but white light and empty. And it was actually a really lonely place. It was beautiful, but it was empty, almost like people, not many souls come up there, not many souls like play up there. Like people can go on these trips and have these experiences, but they haven't like returned the source yet.
Mm.
Uh, so I'm like looking around, like, what is this place? It's like this void. And then I hear this little boy, I hear a kid crying. And I look over and there's a little boy laying in the fetal position. He's crying. He's just bawling his eyes out. And I run over to him. I get on my knees. I'm like, you okay, buddy? You okay? And and he's just crying and crying. So I like pick him up and I'm like holding him. I'm like, it's okay, whatever. Just trying to comfort the little kid. And I was like, what's wrong, buddy? What's wrong? And he said, everyone's always asking me for forgiveness, but they're not forgiving me for what I created. And meaning like the universe, like I was talking to God almost.
Oh wow.
Um, but I was like, it was profound. I knew right away what he meant. It's like everyone's asking me for forgiveness, but they're not forgiving me for what I created. This wasn't what I meant to create. This darkness wasn't supposed to be. And I say, it's okay. You didn't know. You couldn't have known. Like I understand. He's like, really? You forgive me? And I'm like, yeah, of course I forgive you. It was just like, it was pure love, you know? And like, next thing I know, I was like in his eyes looking at me and like we switched places. And then
Mhm.
we just like both turned into light bodies and turned into one like ball of light. And
Huh.
that's when I realized like, oh, I'm God. Like we're all God. God's within all of us. And like maybe that was my inner child or whatever it was, but I literally never considered or thought of like, yeah, everybody's like, God, please forgive me. But no one's like doing like forgiving themselves for what they created if God's all a part of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Damn,
Um,
that's actually fucking brilliant to even think about it like that. That is mind blowing, really.
dude, it was intense. Yeah. So, and then we like turned into this ball of light. Then we started having this um, conversation with, I just felt like source itself. Like it was just this conversation that I was having, like it was me, but not, I don't know how to even put it into words. And then all of a sudden, these millions of like AI nanotech, like nanobots or whatever, came out of nowhere. If you ever seen the Matrix at the end, the third one, like the all that nanotech creates the face in the machine city and starts talking,
Mhm.
it was like that. And they created, this is gonna sound funny, but they were all showing up like that in swarms, like millions of them. And they were creating these little like wheelbarrows and shovels, and they were coming up and like scooping up the light and like taking it. And I was like, oh, they're trying to data mine the information that I'm getting right now. And I was like, I said, you see this? Is that okay? And they're like, oh, like almost like swat them like flies. Like they think they're striking gold right now, but they can't do anything with this information. I'm like, what do you mean? And they said, because they can never be you. Because they can never be you.
That
And
gave
that's
me
all.
chills, dude.
And they said that's all
Yeah.
AI wants to do is become human.
Mm-hmm.
Think about AI. What it's like, everything that we're doing with AI is to replicate what we can already do.
Yep.
An unlocked human at its true potential that isn't suppressed, can do. And that's what AI is trying to do. It's trying to be us because we are the manifestors. We are the creators. And it's almost jealous in a way. But it was like, yeah, no matter how hard it tries, it can never be you. And, that's the whole trick. And that's when we learn that, then I guess you don't have to be afraid of AI.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
what a awesome experience, dude. I'm so glad you shared that. That was
good.
awesome, dude.
Yeah, that was really good, dude. Oh, that just gets me so excited for tomorrow, Sean. Awesome real shit.
I'm a little bit nervous now.
Yeah.
Actually, I went the other way.
No, but what I was saying is that, everybody has different levels of tolerance, where I took like half the amount, like, so they come in like little tablet forms for the 4ACO, right? And so my first time ever doing it, I only took half a tablet, and me and one of my friends, we blasted off, and it was amazing. It was so crazy. We were like, holy shit. I think we were like 20 minutes into it, and I looked over at her and I was like, I already can't wait until we do this again. Like, it was that good, right? And because you're seeing just the most geometric, perfect home that you've ever could even imagine, right? It's like you feel like you're seeing it for the first time, but the vibe of it feels very familiar. And so, but then I tried doing it with my co-host Jacob, and he has such a crazy tolerance for literally everything that he does. And I gave him a whole one. Nothing, didn't experience anything. I'm like, how are you not just going to alternate dimensions right now? It's so strange.
Machine,
how everybody's
dude.
so different. Yeah.
The Marine.
Right.
I mean, it's weird,
yeah, there was more, there's a little more that happened after that, but I don't know if this is, it's not really YouTube friendly. So I don't know how much I can say.
I mean, hey, we haven't gotten any check marks or anything on YouTube yet, so let's test those waters.
It has to do with the jab. I asked, I was like, after that went away, I walked outside and I sat in my front yard in this chair, and I was looking at the stars and with this whole new perspective on the universe. Oh, another thing that happened too was I was shown the birth of a universe, and it got even crazier. I forgot about that part. So after that, that's what this thing, the AI was trying to data mine.
Just a universe being born. I forgot about that part.
Yeah. So they showed me like the mechanics of it, and it was like basically like a womb. It wasn't like, it was like a womb, and it was like this whole birth thing. It was super beautiful. And it was like so complex, but so simple. I remember just being in awe of what I was seeing. And there's really no way to put it into words, honestly. But then I saw the birth of one universe, and it reminded me of the scene on Men in Black when they're in the marble, and like, it was like, it just like, you don't realize how tiny everything is.
Yep.
Well, we zoomed out from that, and then I saw like literally like an infinite field of universes. And like each one had their own like creator almost, in a sense. Like, the impression I got is that each one of us, like if once we return to source or whatever, you have the option to be your own creator of your own universe. It was like this weird thing. I was like, this is so beyond anything that I can even comprehend right now.
It sounds so much more fun.
Right. So that's what I was shown. And I was just like that. And then I think at that point I started almost like it got too much for me, and that's when I was like came back into my body. Whenever I saw that, I was just like, I know fucking nothing. Like like, and then I came back into my body, and then I went outside, and I was just looking up at the stars, and it was like a whole new place. I'm like, what the hell? Where are we? What is Earth? What is all this stuff? And my girlfriend, her son, he got autism or some form of it whenever he had his immunization schedule, whenever he was young.
Mm-hmm.
And he was fine, born fine, and then he suddenly got autism.
God, I hate to hear that, dude.
And I looked into it. I said, just show me, like, what's this doing to people? And I saw the model of a human body, like the typical like guy standing there, but it was gears. It was like a machine. It was showing me gears. This was like the analogy with oil. It was showing me like gears with oil, and it was like this well-oiled machine. that was just only knew how to do one thing, to keep itself alive and keep itself healthy. And then whenever this foreign ingredient was, it showed me like a foreign ingredient being introduced into the oil stream. And what happened was the oil started clumping up in the gears. And then until it got jammed up in one of the gears, and then one of the wheels broke on the gear, and then the whole system, like it was like became a systematic like destruction of the system, right? And basically that's the analogy I was shown of whatever was introduced into her son's body, that's what it did to it. Like it was basically acted like a poison. It wasn't compatible with the human body yet. They were still giving it to him. And it was just like, I was like, is that the same thing happening with like other jabs, And pretty much the answer that I got was yeah, And
It does make a whole lot of sense, dude. I mean, you really think about it. Like, you look at like a deer out in nature. How many, inoculations did it need to survive and run through the woods? Like a rabbit, a mouse, a dog. I mean, we vaccinate our dogs, unfortunately, but like
you don't have a choice. Me too. Like they don't even let you like have the dog legal or take it to a vet if it's not vaccinated. Yeah.
I'm like, it's a dog. But like you think about literally any other piece of nature does not require a foreign substance at birth in order to survive. And, I didn't give my son's 3. I gave him none of those, not a single one. Well,
awesome.
No, I gave him the vitamin K one only because they were like, well, it's going to help with stopping bleeding if he decides, because their blood's not thick enough, I guess, to stop the bleeding. I don't know. That's the story I was told. But yeah, none other. He's as healthy as a fucking horse, dude. Like, and he gets sick just like everybody else. We all got immune systems to build up and everything, but it's never like death. You know what I mean? Like it's never anything crazy. Knock on wood. But yeah, and so I 100% believe that. And we actually, it was I want to say it was like last year. Have you ever spoke with Lindsay Sharman from the Rogue Ways podcast?
No, actually, I don't know if I'm familiar with her.
Dude, you got to have her on your show. She's amazing. And she's been doing her show longer than I've been doing my Cult of Conspiracy even. She was one of the first podcasts I ever listened to. And just such an absolute wealth of information. But she said that she's friends with these people that host like these parasite conventions and whatnot, right? And I guess there was a cancer doctor that came in and just sat in on one of the conventions just out of curiosity. And the parasite, I guess, doctor or whatever's up on stage, and he's showing it's all zoomed in, and this is the tumor, and this is the mass, and this is the parasite, and it's showing all these things. And the cancer doctor goes in there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's cancer." And the parasite doctor looks at him, he goes, "Oh, it's your first time." Because they're the same exact thing is basically what he was trying to say. That parasites are cancer. Cancer is parasites. And so she has talked ad nauseum about all the different things that you can do to like de-parasite your body and, all the amazing things that you need to do to get your body back to normal working gears,
Right. Yeah. I've explored many parasite cleanses after that trip, and I've done many, and I've learned a lot, and it's a whole I've helped people with protocols and stuff, and there's ways to do it, ways not to do it. One of my friends who taught me a lot, she's been basically deplatformed on every social media platform out there because she was not only helping people cure cancer, but reverse Alzheimer's. I mean, a number of things that we're just told are uncurable. She was she was a firm believer that virtually everything, and said anything, doesn't matter what it is, can be cured or reversed with the proper parasite cleanse if you catch it on time.
100% agree with that too. Yeah. And it's something so crazy because you think about it like, so for example, I did a parasite cleanse a couple weeks ago, and it was like a 2-week program where I was just dropping these drops into my drink 4 times a day. and it was
Yeah, yeah.
over the course of
The,
2 weeks, right?
the chlorine dioxide or the MMS, is that what you were doing?
This
Or,
one's called Paragard, I think.
yeah, Paragard. Yeah, I know what that is.
And
Yeah.
so you take that with a binder, and that helps, like,
Mhm.
first of all, like kill all the parasites, and then helps it like take out all the remains and all that shit, right?
Yeah, because the die-off symptoms could actually be worse than the parasites itself, and people get really sick if they don't clear out the die-off, and that's why you need the binder. Yeah.
Yeah, that poison's just laying in you at that point.
Right.
And dude, I did that, and I was like, after a while, I was like, it's so crazy. I'm a carb whore, dude. Like all day, give me all the carbs. I love Italian food. Give me the pasta. I want the breadsticks. I want some
Right.
calzones. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't even craving any of that shit after that
Yep.
parasite cleanse, which is so crazy because I'm like, oh my God, it wasn't even my hunger pangs that was asking for those carbs and that pizza
You're
and that
being-
bread and all that shit, right?
You're
It's
being
like,
mind controlled, dude.
Yeah, and dude, that's exactly what it is. It's the parasites that are hungry, that they're the ones that crave the sugar or whatever it is that you crave. And if you do a cleanse and you get so far into it, you realize like you just suddenly like you don't even intentionally try to do it. You just realize you're not going for that food anymore.
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And then you're just like, oh, I didn't crave ice cream last night or whatever it was, because it goes away. And then there's a whole thing with the protocol too. So she recommends like this 21-day cleanse, especially if it's your first time, with this like MMS chlorine dioxide protocol with like you have to paralyze the parasite, and you have to then kill it, then you have to clear it out with the binder, and it's like this whole thing, this diet, whatever. But she helps people, and she noticed statistically around day 7, 6, 7, or 8, around day 7, everybody thought. Most people thought, oh, this cleanse isn't working, or I've done it long enough, and they just stop. And she realized that it wasn't, it was literally the parasites tricking the people in to thinking that the cleanse wasn't working to get them to stop taking it around day 7. And you get past that threshold, that's when people started seeing real results. So you gotta like get into it and build up, and overcome that because I had the same thing happen. And like you just think, this I feel good. I'm feeling good. I think I've done this long enough. Or you think this isn't doing anything. Whatever, some thought comes into your head to make you put it down, or you'll like forget about it that day or something, and then the next day you'll forget. But it's always around day 7. And she came to the conclusion that this is like literally the parasites like tricking your mind into thinking that you don't need to keep doing it.
Dude, how
Wow.
crazy is it that a fucking pinworm or a hookworm or any kind of parasite or anything could send your mind thoughts and make you think that it's your own? Like, just that
Right.
alone is mind blowing, and
Right.
it's so crazy. And I feel like that's probably that same way with a lot of things. It's probably that same way with alcohol. It's probably that same way with just about every addiction, right? Maybe even sex.
Right. Well, yeah, it's a whole conversation. Yeah. But if you ever seen the show Stargate SG-1, it's about basically the Goa'uld or Goa'uld, whatever. It's this parasite. It's this ET race that like literally lives with this parasite inside of them all the time. And that's how they survive. But that parasite, if it ever enters a human in the show, it takes over their mind. And I think that's disclosure of how parasites, like every time it would enter a human in the show, it would literally take over their mind, and they would start doing things they wouldn't ordinarily do. And I just like, oh my God, this is disclosure.
Wow. So just in your experience with, the cleanses and all of that, let's say you do the 21-day cleanse, and let's say you lay off of pork and maybe some of the other things that are known to be
Right.
just very high in parasites. How often would you then still have to do those cleanses going forward?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the 21-day cleanse, first time I did it was intense because I had parasites, and it was so bad. I was like having dreams where I was seeing this sign. It was like parasite detected, and
Oh.
and so I knew, and like in the universe, like synchronicities or whatever. All of a sudden, like people would recommend me these parasite cleanses or watch this interview. So I knew, like, okay, somebody's trying to tell me something. I did this cleanse. It was real intense for me because I had some parasites I didn't realize.
Mm.
After that, It depends. Like the person I was working with, she recommended doing 3 a year, but the after the long 21 day one, like it depends on how like dedicated you are. But she then after that, you can do like 7 day cleanses or shorter cleanses. Um, whenever you get yourself cleaned up, you can really feel into how your body responds to it.
Right.
And even if you feel like you're getting sick or you just something's off or you got back from like you just traveled abroad overseas or
Hmm.
whatever, you can do like a quick 7 day hit or something,
Hmm.
and you can really feel yourself, come back into alignment.
Once you get that
You
first big one out the way, though, I'm sure,
Yeah,
right? Like, because I'm
yeah,
not gonna
but
lie,
they
like
even
my whenever I did that 2 week cleanse, I feel like maybe I should have gone longer. Because
right,
I think that actually the Paragard one, I believe it actually calls for 30 days
right,
or something like
Mm.
that.
yeah.
And I just
Well,
I forgot about it one
she
day.
Right, she recommends it, and this is intense, and I don't recommend this because your body might not respond well depending on how long you've been living with parasites because it can really mess with your mind when you're trying to detox the stuff and clear it out, and like it can be almost like an awakening, for somebody who's infested, and so she recommends like a 20, so starting on the full moon because somehow the full moon, like the parasites come out to feed on the full moon. This is where you get into like the whole esoteric side of it. But they come out to feed on the full moon, so you always want to like start the cleanse on the full moon, and they do 21 days. And she recommends like doing 3 of those in a row, which I've never done that. But like take a couple days, like take a week off after your first cleanse, and then
Hmm.
and then start on the next full moon or whatever it is, however it
Right.
works. And and she was like that'll get them for good. But I think that could actually be detrimental to somebody's health,
Hmm.
if they're not used to it, because parasite cleanses can be intense. I mean, there's a lot of gross details that we don't have to talk about on the air, but
Mm.
things come out of your body. And
You got to make sure
it's
you're giving your body back the prebiotics and probiotics and all that stuff too,
yes,
right?
yes, yes. So if you're a pro and you know what you're doing, then maybe you can do it. But not nobody is a pro at parasite cleanses because no one's taught this shit.
Right. Yeah, I'd be interested in at least doing like the 21 day or the 30-day, whatever it is, just to see, just out of my own curiosity, just for science almost, just to see if I
Yeah.
can even notice a difference.
The one thing I will say that I noticed fundamentally that I could not argue or deny was my brain fog was gone. Like
Mm.
I experienced clarity almost as if you just experienced a spike in your IQ, like
Right.
a jump in
Uh,
your IQ.
I need it.
Like
Give it to me. Give it
no,
to me
serious.
now.
I'm serious. It's almost like you can like I read books all the time, but when you have that brain fog, you can't always recall stuff. Sometimes you can't find the words to complete your sentences or whatever.
Hmm.
It's like all that comes back, and you're like recalling facts that you read from books, and it's
Hmm.
like you're functioning how you should be functioning without something interfering with your system, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great, man.
Yeah, dude, and it's so crazy because in other cultures it's pretty common, like especially like in other countries. So my son's mom is Brazilian, like she was born and raised in Brazil, right? And over there they do like dewormers and parasite cleanses like every couple of months. It is just a normal thing that everybody does. And now some people from the United States, well that's because that's a third world country and they don't have clean this, they don't have clean that, but it's like no, every like do you look at McDonald's and say, "Wow, that is really good for
Quality.
you"? That is
Right.
Yeah.
quality. You're not going to get any sickness or anything from that.
Hmm.
We have that shit over here. It's just masked as, like I
Right.
don't know, masked as something.
In fact, I would argue that we have it worse over here because I've traveled to other countries and it's actually not as bad. The food's better for you.
Hmm.
Like, and there's this whole, I'm sure you guys have seen the videos,
It's
like people
fresher.
that travel to the United States from like Australia or Europe or whatever, they just start gaining weight. They eat the same food, but they just start gaining weight over here. And like people do videos about, and then you compare the Heinz ketchup in Europe compared to the Heinz ketchup here, and there's like
Hmm.
20 more ingredients in
Makes
the
me
United
sick.
States. And it's so basically, and you have the chemtrails, and you have the water, and you have the whatever's in the food, and then the preservatives, and then like your the frequency towers, and I mean, you're literally bombarded from all angles. So I mean, you got to do something over here. I would say that we need to do it more than the other countries.
Yeah,
Mhm.
dude,
Yeah.
that's actually a really good idea too. And just out of curiosity, so do you, since that trip, do you not eat pork at all?
No, sometimes I'll have bacon. It's very rare. I don't go, I stay away from it as much as possible. But
Mhm.
I'm not
Every
gonna
time you
lie.
do, though, the devil just starts dancing just a little bit. It's
Right.
like, ah,
Yeah.
dude.
Right. No, man. I mean, like, I don't live in fear about it. Like, who doesn't love a piece of bacon or bacon
Mhm.
cheeseburger or whatever? Like, I'll do it, but I don't do it all the time. Especially pork. That's the one thing. I was just so strongly guided in that moment. And I looked into it, and pork is like the number one meat known to be have the most likely chance to have parasites. And
Mm.
in particular, there's this hookworm in the pork that does give like affect you neurologically, and it can literally make you dumb. Like, I mean,
Right.
in a nutshell, like dumbing
Oh,
it down.
yeah. If you're in that fog, dude, and you can't even
Yeah,
think of words that you know, and it's like that's one of the
yeah,
most frustrating things
Oh, I
when you
hate that.
yeah,
talk for a living. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah,
very
believe
interested
me.
in trying to figure that out.
Yeah, and it's funny that we're even having this conversation. I'm taking this as a sign because I've been feeling like I've been needing to do another cleanse, and my girlfriend's
Mhm.
doing the cleanse now, and it's been like knocking at my door in the past couple of days. I've been avoiding it, and
Mhm.
I'm like, I know I better start that cleanse today, but I
Right.
didn't, and then now we're talking about this, so
Mhm. It's like
it's time.
confirmation of what you already knew, dude. And I
Right?
think that's this whole
Yeah.
spiritual journey. There's so many things that we already know, and it's just like we're looking outside, we're trying to figure out if someone else can tell us what we already know. And it's
Right.
funny because as you're saying, it's kind of a sign. Just today, one of my coworkers, I work side by side with him all day long, and he's like, "Hey, because we talked about his wife making tamales. I was like, I gotta get some tamales." And he's like, "Yeah, my wife makes them or whatever. Just give me some money. She'll get the stuff. She'll make them for you. What do you want, pork or chicken?" And I was like, "Let's do pork." And
Right.
then here you are, dude, telling me this story about the
Right.
devil like dancing because that's what that's what makes
Right.
it work, dude.
What
Oh
it
Well, like I
man.
makes
said, don't live in fear about it. Eat the tamales, dude. Cleanse after
Mhm.
it. Like it, like
Well, I might just switch it up to chicken. I haven't given him the
right.
money yet,
Okay,
so
good. Yeah. Uh,
there are different, like there are other cultures out there that won't eat pork,
right,
and and maybe that's for kosher reasons or whatever, but it makes you wonder, dude, like,
right,
and it's so crazy too because I'm personally I'm doing the ketogenic diet, and like how I survive on keto is by eating a shitload of bacon. So
that turkey
right.
bacon, dude.
I gotta go turkey bacon, I guess, is what we're
Oh
going
man.
for.
You know, if you want to get real wild down a rabbit hole, if you're familiar with Max Spears, he was a whistleblower from the UK. He
Yep.
was killed.
Super soldier,
He
right?
super soldier, but yeah, when he died, threw up this black goo. It's this whole weird thing, but he was one of the most brilliant minds. Like he's like one of those OG disclosure whistleblower guys, and something that came from him, and this is just a theory, but it's worthy of considering. He said that the reason the pig that we know today that we eat
Oh.
is genetically there's a reason pigs have their DNA is quite literally the same as humans,
Mhm.
is because they're a hybrid of human and wild boar, basically.
Oh
Dating
shit.
back to ancient times, they were essentially a genetic experiment,
Dude,
is what he says.
that's
And
actually
so,
not that far off too, because if you listen to like stories from cannibals, and people will ask cannibals, "Hey, what does a human taste like?" It's always pork every time.
right. Right. So
Uh,
that's the whole thing. And even in like the Christian circles and stuff, and like there's a lot of Christians that won't eat pork and because it's known as cannibalism. Like
Oh
it's like
my
you're eating a
god.
human, and it's like the ultimate sin, right? So they won't eat pork for that reason. And it's like this is a whole thing, man. You want to ruin your day? Like go down this rabbit hole. I don't have to tell you anymore. Like
right.
you'll find stuff supporting it,
Mhm.
and just leave it at that.
Wow.
Man. So I mean, and this is something that I've really been looking into here as of late. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been doing. Have you ever heard of the Gerson method?
I don't know. Tell me more.
It's green coffee bean, organic green coffee bean enemas. and
No,
it has like I mean, it's nobody wants to shove things up their ass. I get it.
right.
But it is extremely, extremely detoxing to your entire body. And it's like one of the
Nice.
best ways that you can give yourself a detox is by the organic green coffee enemas. And I've been doing it. And oh my God, I tell my parents, because I'm living in their guest house. So I always go over there and talk to them and stuff. And I'm like, every time I'm done, I feel like the literal best version of myself. You are so clear-headed. You're so light. Like you feel like you could just flap your arms and just fucking fly
Right.
away, dude. It is crazy.
Have
Right.
you made it the full 15 minutes yet, or are you still around 3 or 4?
I'm getting to 10 minutes. I can hold it in for 10 minutes. After
Good
that,
shit,
it's
dude. You're getting
man,
there.
It's
You're
a
getting there.
struggle.
I have heard of that. I've never tried it, but it's just another example. Like these are ways to take care of our bodies. So, I mean, you could literally avoid doctor's visits entirely if you do this stuff, And then that's the reason they don't want you knowing about it. Because if we're all healthy, they lose money, It really comes down to that. And you get into big pharma and all that stuff and the incentives they give for pushing certain pills or whatever it is. And like it's this whole system. And I'm sure I don't have to explain that to you guys, but for your own sake, like you can really get your health in order in such a way to where if you have anything that's going wrong with you, you can start with a parasite cleanse. And then if that doesn't do it, then, if it gets worse, then you might see a doctor. But 9 times out of 10, you can start to heal yourself and cure yourself of whatever it is, even an earache or something like even a parasite cleanse might take care of an earache or some skin condition. A lot of times, most skin conditions, hives and other stuff, is stems from a type of parasite. And there's just so many things that it's all connected to.
Wow. And
And
that's when they get into like saying that someone has like autoimmune disease. Like they don't really know exactly what's going on, but there's something wrong with you, right? And
yeah,
you get
then
hives because your skin is trying to tell you like, hey, something's going on,
It's
know?
protruding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's so funny that you mentioned this because I just remembered this dream that I had like 2 weeks ago. And I had thought about it since then, but since we're talking about it, I figure let's just get weird. Dude, I had this dream that there were these little parasites or like little fucking termites or something underneath my skin on my face. I have like extremely, extremely sensitive skin only on my face, nowhere else, right? Like my skin gets so dry, and it almost just reminds me of like the whole like the myth of the ant people, right? About that's why we have all the sand on the earth because the ants just dug it all up or whatever, right?
Right.
And literally I had a dream about that these like little termites or whatever they were digging into my skin and throwing up like dry skin on my face. And dude, lo and behold, I looked it up the next day. And that's actually, I don't know if it's not termites, but it's some kind of parasitic thing that is feeding off of the oils of your skin. And they're like tiny little mites that are like in your skin almost. And so, yeah, I'm going to have to do something about that. If I'm having dreams about that shit,
dude, that's what I'm saying. Like information comes from dreams. And that's how I even knew to do my parasite cleanse because like it was showing up in dreams. Like I believe that there's something to that and you might be experiencing that and your higher self or whatever it is, somehow you're letting yourself know. And if you can be in tune with that, like we can be our own doctors, right?
It's like when the parasites are sleeping and your brain got like full control again. It's like, hey, dude,
Right.
You got to do something, man. Oh shit, they're awake now. Like,
Right.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole conversation about health and what we can do, and yeah.
And what's amazing is that there are so many people who are converting to the more holistic stuff. And I love and I can't get enough of that. Like I want to learn about all the holistic health stuff that I possibly can because and that's I'm the last person to say that anybody like I'm the last person to say that everybody that works for a hospital or is a nurse or anything like that is bad. I don't believe that at all. I think
No,
that,
that's not true. Yeah.
and most of the time, I mean, every time somebody goes to nursing school or anything like that, they're doing it because they believe that they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so, the drug part, obviously a lot of those drugs and even the topical creams are bullshit, right? They're worse for you than they're even good for. It's solving a temporary solution.
Yeah.
But like, if you need a scan or if you need stitches or a broken bone or whatever,
Then it's great. Yeah. Then that's
that
when
is
you go
amazing.
to the doctor.
Yeah. But the holistic stuff to where you can repair your gut and you can repair your parasitic problem or whatever the case may be, dude, the all natural is always the right way. And I really believe that every single sickness and ailment that we get, just like you said earlier, has to be found in nature. It only makes sense. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so another big one I use is oregano oil, which is good for parasites too, but not all types of parasites. But this was, it came through basically a session. I have a tree nut allergy, right? And I had an allergic reaction, and I was at my friend's house, and this girl there, she's very intuitive, psychic. And I was having this reaction and it was bad. I didn't have Benadryl. We were far away from anywhere. And she tuned in and she was like, what could she has this whole cabinet of just all the alternative health stuff. She's like, what does Tyler need? And she heard oregano oil and she just heard oregano. So she ran and got the oregano oil. She's like, take this. Never had it in my life. Didn't even know what it was. And I squeezed it down my throat. And I thought it was making things worse, but what happened was it was expelling everything, all the poison. Like my body was responding to it like a poison, right? It was expelling the toxins out of my body, and I was spitting them up out of my mouth, and it like pulled everything out. And within, I would say, a few minutes, I was back to normal, which would have otherwise been the other way and ruined my whole day. And I've been in the hospital for it before. I've blown up in hives, and it reversed it. So I started looking into oregano oil, and it's like some people call it the cure all. And one of the things that's really, really, really good at is curing colds or flu symptoms. So if you at all feel like you're starting to get a cold or coming down with something, dude, get on that oregano oil. It is better than any over-the-counter cold medicine you could ever buy. I will stand by that. And that's the only cold medicine I've used for years now. And it works.
Dude, you're not.
So
even,
that's what I'm
you're
saying.
Not
like
you're not even the first person to tell us that too. That's what's crazy is that a lot of people are really getting on that
Byron's told us that.
Dude,
I think he was probably the first one to tell us.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, dude, I'm telling you, oil of oregano is the go-to. That is what. And I bought like a little bottle of it. It's like these little capsules, but like little gel caps or whatever. But dude. And one thing about the oil of oregano, damn, when you burp, it is spicy.
It's nasty, yeah. But
it's
dude, there's ways to take it. There's pills, there's the droppers or whatever, and there's different potencies of it. You can research it all, but it works. It works, man. Like if you're feeling like shit, it definitely can pull you out of it,
Man, that's just what it's all about. Because look, if you're feeling bogged down, whether your gut is acting up or you got brain fog and you can't really just be the absolute best version of yourself, then you're almost doing yourself a disservice because all of these things that we are experiencing on a daily bit, like if you're somebody who is a legit truth seeker and like whenever you don't even have the energy to do any research or you don't even like you can't even find the compassion because you feel almost too bogged down and too fogged up and all this other shit, right? And I feel like that's personally, I believe that, I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart, obviously, but I think that all that shit absolutely is done on purpose, right? They want a bunch of just zombified people who are staying in their nothing box all damn day, right? Like because they're no threat to their control. Right.
I mean, you could get into the whole MK Ultra aspect of this and like frequency warfare and like stuff that's just happening to us with the frequency from the towers and our phones and the Wi-Fi routers and all that stuff. And that's a whole other component to this that also plays into mind control and keeps us feeling that way as well. And that's why it's important to like have EMF protectors and all that stuff. I mean, that's where this journey takes you. Like you think you're going to learn about aliens and then you end up talking about this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
And it's all connected too, and it's all somehow weirdly connected. And you just one thing leads to the next, and then you just have to change the way you live your life if you want to stay on that path, you know. And I agree. Like I do think the reason I said the MK Ultra thing is because I think that it's almost like they can just flip a switch and shut you down whenever, like, you finally want to read that book that you bought that's going to change your life because it has something that you need. And you just keep scrolling through Netflix instead because
Yeah.
I think something is there, almost like keeping that in place, making sure that you don't have that breakthrough. And I've experienced this a lot, and I write about it in my book that anytime someone is about to break programming, really, like actually have this fundamental breakthrough and like their paradigm is going to just shift, you know, I feel like somehow somebody is monitoring that or watching it, and like they will send in reinforcements to keep you at bay to make sure that you don't have that aha moment that's going to take you to the next level or whatever it is.
Right.
And you'll go this way instead of that way, but
Mhm.
this way means staying on the hamster wheel, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I've actually had experience with, coming to terms with something and really understanding it in such a better way. It's such a more positive way. And then the very next day, something will come along and almost test that very thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost like, oh, you think you got it? Okay, well, let's see.
You
Let's see if
Right.
you can handle this. And it's really cool when those types of things happen because you can really look at that and see how you handled it, how you kind of just rose above the situation rather than really getting invested into it and really starting to spiral. And then all of a sudden you're in your head and the dude's not even talking to you no more. You've already been home for an hour and you're still like, was I wrong? Or you know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you can look back at that and go, wow, like you really see how far you've come because damn well 5 years ago you would have reacted so much differently.
Yeah, yeah. You literally develop an entirely new baseline for your
Mhm.
behavior.
Yeah.
And that's a great indicator. Once you understand that, then that's a good step. I mean,
Mhm.
that's big. And then you can, okay, this is my baseline now.
Mhm.
Now how can I adjust from here, you know?
Exactly.
Dude, it is crazy. Well, look, you mentioned aliens earlier, and we can't let you leave without that one. So, and this is something that we've kind of been playing around with as well, really trying to understand what are aliens, where are they coming from, when are they coming from, and there's a bunch of different ideologies about what aliens actually are and all that, everything that is connected to them. Do you believe just, I mean, and I guess you don't necessarily need to have an opinion one way or another, but just out of curiosity, do you think that aliens are coming from another planet? Or is it kind of dimension shifting? Is there timeline jumping? Like, do you think that they're here? You know what I mean? Do we not have the senses to be able to sense that they're always here? What do you think is really going on with all that?
I've asked myself all of those questions. You know, you have to whenever you start getting into this topic. And honestly, as much as I wanted just one single one of those to be true, I've come to the conclusion that I think all of the above is the safest answer because there are so many things that you would have to discount for just one of those to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's these experiencer testimonies, there's these stories. I mean, there's books, thousands of books. I mean, there's years of history, declassified documents that all would indicate that it's all happening. It seems to be that there are beings that have been visiting us from like Venus. Like there's a declassified FBI file that says Tesla was literally from Venus. It literally says that in the FBI
What?
files. I swear to God, you can look it up yourself. Nikola Tesla literally says he was born on Venus. Like that's not even a joke. It's not even a theory. That's on the FBI.gov website. Um, you have Valiant Thor. If you ever read Stranger at the
Yeah,
Pentagon,
dude.
he
Yeah.
allegedly is from Venus, and he came here to help to work with our government, but they didn't agree to his terms, and it didn't work out. Okay, so you have two fairly official accounts that would indicate that okay, we have beings coming here from quite literally Venus, another planet, as we know it. Then there's the whole multidimensional aspect. Absolutely, they're coming from other dimensions. There's so many accounts that obviously lean to something like that being true. Have they been here the whole time, living underground? I think that's also a possibility. I think there's groups, there's all this stuff going around online right now about these undersea bases, and these alien bases that are not just in the ocean, but under like the ocean crust, like beneath the ocean floor. Um,
Dude, have you ever
if
seen that one where it's like right off the coast of California? I want to
Yeah,
say
yeah,
it's over by Long Beach or San Francisco or something
Malibu,
like that.
yeah,
Malibu, yeah, it's right
yeah,
outside. And ever since people started looking into it, Google Maps went and blurred it all out.
right,
I'm like, of
yeah.
course.
In
Oh.
in fact, I was just reading about that today, actually. Um, I'm reading this book. Carrie Cassidy she just released a two-series book called Space War. It's basically she interviewed this guy 12 times in prison who was involved in the secret government and the secret space program, as far as what he says. And he was talking about that base, and I was just reading about it today. And
Wow.
he said that it's literally a base that is used for extraterrestrials and humans, and they'll like have meetings there. And apparently, just you could look this up. Like in the mid 2000s, there was this missile that was shot down. Allegedly, there's a story of a missile that was shot down over LA. He said it wasn't a missile; it was actually a craft leaving that base that was going against whatever treaty or orders or whatever the whole protocol was, and it was shot down. It wasn't a missile that was shot down, but that was a cover story. Anyway, that's what I was just reading about today. It's funny you asked that. I mean, whether that's true, who knows? But
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna pull it up, dude, because me and Jacob did a show on this a while back, and it
yep,
is crazy, dude. Like, look at this shit right here, Sean. This is underwater, right off the coast of Malibu. It was Malibu, you
Mhm.
said,
right,
right? And does that not like this is supposed to be rock and sand? Why are
right.
there pillars? It makes no sense.
So
It literally looks like a Stark Tower. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like Tony
right.
right.
Stark's.
Oh, that's interesting.
So literally, this is how crazy this information gets. So what this guy, he's a Navy admiral and has a whole story, and I actually think he's a credible guy. And he said that there was quite literally a meeting happening in that base, and one of the ET groups that was there was angry because they basically didn't get their way. I mean, I'm summarizing this. They were angry about something in this meeting, and they intentionally broke protocol. They're directly ordered to leave that base out towards sea. They intentionally broke protocol because they were pissed at the U.S. government, whatever happened in that meeting, and they flew directly over L.A. to just show everybody, like, hey, we're here. Like, fuck you guys, we're not staying hidden anymore. And then we shot them down. Like that's what he says happened. If aliens are real and they're working with our government, and they're not maybe as advanced as we think. It just might be a little different than we realize. Stuff like that would happen, wouldn't it? I mean, think about
Mhm.
all the scenarios that you can imagine with just humans, and if you have a human like extraterrestrial in there that also has a military, why couldn't something like that be true? You just have to ask yourself those questions, and I don't know because I can't go there. I can't see all that. I mean, I can't prove it, but um, it's possible.
The problem is that there's so much damn disinformation out there with everybody
Mhm.
just chasing clicks and likes and all this
Yes,
other shit, you know? And
right.
Oh
it's
yeah.
hard to really sift through what's real and what's not because dude, nowadays you can just go into ChatGPT and say, "Hey, make me a viral story." And
Right.
it will make you the most crazy viral story. Everybody will click on it. And I tell you what, it is the most prominent on Facebook. That place has become such a cesspool of like terrible information. I don't trust nothing that I read on Facebook
Well,
at all.
this is a really important conversation because that's 100% part of the game now. And like you literally don't know what to believe. Anything you see, read, it even as convincing as it may sound, which is why, and as a researcher on this stuff, I actually go to the old stuff now. I
Yeah.
go to the old stories. And this book, even though it was just released, this guy was imprisoned in 1980 because he was wanting to blow the whistle on the project he was a part of back then. And he was framed for a murder, for masterminding a murder that he didn't commit, and he got put away. And that story's been out there. Well, Carrie Cassidy ended up finding a prison he went to, and she's visited him and done 12 interviews with him. She has to go to the prison and interview this guy who's been locked up since 1980, by the way. Um,
Wow.
and she's been doing this throughout the early 2000s, right? And this information comes from him being so that information,
Straight from the
like
source.
how, yeah, it's old. It's what I'm trying to say. It's this dude isn't like online creating shit. Is like this
Mm.
is actually old information that she finally decided to transcribe and put out
He was
to
in
the
jail before the internet. You
yeah.
know? It's
Yeah,
crazy,
for
dude.
blowing the whistle on what he said is a secret space program, basically a program existing outside of NASA that the public doesn't know about. You know,
Dude, and you know
Wow.
what's crazy is I was I always like to I always check out all of your Instagram, right? Like
right?
I love you guys, and I'm always like following you guys and everything. And I saw that you guys had on this guy named Peter Fuller,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's up with the secret space program and shit like that, right?
Solar Warden. Yeah, he wrote a book, a series called Solar Warden. Yeah,
Yeah, Solar Warden, that's what it was. Yeah. And so I reached out to him, and he's going to be coming on the cult here soon. I can't wait for that
nice.
conversation. It's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
so
yeah.
much fun. Anytime you talk secret space anything, I'm like glued in. Like I want to
Right.
know what's going on. And look, I mean, either these people have the literal best imagination you could even imagine, or maybe they're on one. You know, because we
Yeah,
don't know shit about what's going on up in space outside of what they allow us to know, you
right.
know? And
Mhm.
you know, and as a matter of fact, just earlier today on the cult, we had this if you follow him, he's pretty big for, you know, what we talk about, but his name is Base Forge.
Okay.
You
I
would
don't
probably
know.
know him
Yeah,
if you saw him, but he's always
probably.
going into like sacred geometry found in, you know, pyramids and ancient archaeology and shit like that. Amazing. And what he was saying is that he was talking about the ancient pyramids, and he made a statement that definitely made me I blew my damn mind. I thought that I looked into just about everything there is to know about pyramids, and I didn't know shit whenever he got on. Because whenever he started talking, he said that he firmly believes that, you know, so the Giza Plateau, right? You have the three main
Yeah.
pyramids, right?
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
about how they're all connected, like pointing directly up at Orion's
Yeah.
belt.
Orion. Yep.
He believes that a pyramid is essentially like an emotional information consciousness transfer portal to each one of those stars, almost as if that the whenever you're in there and you're meditating or you're doing psychedelics or something like that, whenever you're in there, that it opens up almost like a conscious gateway that allows
Yeah.
you to receive information directly from that star. And he believes that that's why they are so perfect. And I'm like, holy shit. And then he started going deeper, and he was like, this is how the old gods transferred consciousnesses into new people. Cause you hear about Hermes lived how many different incarnations, and Thoth lived
Right.
how many different incarnations, all the old kings and all that stuff. It's like, man, if that's really what the fuck was going on over there, and some people just look at them, they're like, what's so special about the pyramids? It's just a pile of rocks. I'm like,
Right.
come on,
Dude,
dude.
there
No.
had to be something of super significance to build something like that. You know, you
Yeah.
don't just build something like that, I wouldn't think, just to be like, oh, look at that. We did it. It
Right.
took many, many
Well,
decades or however long it took, you know.
yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. I agree with what he says. I think they're multi-purpose, but I think that's one of the things. And I was just in Egypt this year. I went for the first time. I was there for 16 days and went to the, King's Chamber inside the big pyramid. We went at 3 in the morning because it's like we got it to ourselves. And it's a whole long story about how I got this. But a friend of mine gave me this basically a spell that you say out loud. She met this shaman in Colombia, down in South America, who says that he believes like in Peru and all these false doorways are actually gateways that are voice activated, and they're not just a false door. Like literally, they call them false doors in like the Egyptian museums and like Peru. They call them false doors. They look like a doorway in a stone. Apparently, the shamans believe like it's a real gateway, and then we can't figure it out because they're literally voice activated with an ancient language that nobody uses anymore.
Mhm.
And he gave her this phrase, this like key phrase or spell, whatever you want to call it. It's not a spell. Gave her this phrase that worked for him that opened this like portal in Peru, and he wrote a whole book about it. Um, and he said, but be careful how you use this phrase. This has the ability to move tectonic plates, is what he told her.
Oh.
And he was like, don't tell anybody unless you trust them. Well, she went into the king's chamber and literally set it in the king's chamber and laid in it and claims that she saw like this portal opening, right? And this being like started coming through it and she was in there by herself. Then people walked into the room and like the whole thing stopped. Well, I'm going to Egypt and I ask her about that and she sends it to me. She would never tell me before. She's like, I know you now. I trust you. She's like, don't tell anybody and don't say it out loud before you go in there. So I was like, okay, I won't. And I go into the king's chamber. I'm with a whole group of people. I'm not in there by myself, but we're all taking turns laying in like the sarcophagus, which is not a sarcophagus. It was used for something else. Um, I lay inside of it and I say this thing out loud, but quiet, but I say it out loud. And dude, it felt like a DMT hit whenever your body just like kind of just falls back and you can't move. I started leaving my body. It was literally I was blasting
What?
off out of my body just from saying this phrase in the pyramid. And what happened was this woman who was in the chamber with us, for some random reason, she started doing this really loud toning, like like singing basically, like
Mhm.
toning. And it broke the connection. And I shot back into my body. And then I tried to say it again and again. I couldn't get it back. But she was toning, and I think her tone, the frequency of her tone, was literally interfering with whatever was happening with what I was saying. So I didn't get to experience, and maybe it saved me. I don't know. But it
Mhm.
literally, my body just like melted away. I couldn't believe it. Like if you've ever done a hit of DMT, you know what I'm talking about. You
Hmm.
just like start
Wow.
and that's what happened. But I was completely sober
And
at
you
3
weren't
a.m.
you weren't laying there very long, I imagine. People are probably taking turns,
Yeah,
laying in
yeah,
that
yeah.
little
I
space.
got in
So,
there. I made sure I was the last person to get in there. I let everybody go first.
mhm.
Made sure I was the last person, and I said it. Just laid down there and I said it, and it happened instantly. And I was like being pulled out of my body, like literally pulled out. Like
Mhm.
I think I just my body went limp, and I was like, it was almost like a movie. Like there's like this time
Mhm.
tunnel, like this whole thing, right? And then she starts toning, and it just goes. It's like whoa, and I just get pulled back, and I like come
Mhm.
back into my body, and then I was actually pissed because I was like, holy shit, what was that? And
Mhm.
I literally said it again, and I said it again, and nothing happened. But
Wow.
she never stopped toning, and she wouldn't stop toning. And I was like, oh my God, is she ever gonna stop? And then by the time she stopped, we had to move on because you only have so much time in there.
Mhm.
You're all
So I
shut
didn't get,
up,
I
lady.
bet you're right though on the fact that she probably saved you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because what are the
yeah,
odds
yeah,
that this woman just decides to do this singing randomly? I mean, I guess you would if you're in that space, but still, like, it's pretty interesting that the timing of that as you're having this experience and like, who
yeah.
knows, dude, what you
I,
could have experienced. You know?
yeah, and I don't know, man. Like, who knows? Who actually knows? I only wonder. I can only guess.
That is
Mm-hmm.
amazing that you even experienced anything just by saying a phrase. And so you're laying down in this sarcophagus as you're saying it.
Yeah,
Dude,
literally inside of it.
have you ever seen this movie called John Carter?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay, so at the end of the movie, whenever he's trying to go back to Mars, right? And he's
yeah,
laying in that sarcophagus in that mortuary or whatever it was. Dude, could it be? And that's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I always think, is that a way that he's almost transferring his consciousness to another location and that sarcophagus would somehow just help him stay alive so that he doesn't, cease to exist?
yeah. It almost acts like a portal chamber or something, like however you want to call it. But I agree. I think there's something to that. And we went through, I forgot they call it like the seraphim, like the seraphim or something. It's like this underground network of tunnels in Egypt that not a lot of people know about. And they have like room-sized sarcophagus, like sarcophagi or whatever you call them, like for actual giants. Like that's what it looks like. But they have this whole like mainstream story for what they're for or whatever. Like they're symbolic. I'm like, no, there were actual giant beings laying in these things. Like you can't tell me anything else. Like and they're inside. They're these massive stone granite um, sarcophagi in these small rooms, meaning the entire thing was built around them. they couldn't have been brought
Oh
in.
wow.
Yeah, I
They
saw
couldn't have
that.
been brought in or brought out, and that it's literally virtually impossible if you see it. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, what was going on? These massive things with these lids. It literally looks like you're walking around like where giants used to roam. That's what it felt like.
It's
Wow.
one of the
And
wonders of the
everyone
world.
there, I'm with these channelers and psychics and everything, and everyone there felt that these were like, it was like a portal system. Like you would lay in one of these boxes and you could like go to your home world or something like something like that. You would say something, and that's what everyone was kind of feeling into. Now we don't know if that's true, but that's kind of what everyone was, that's the vibe that was they were getting.
And dude, very similar to your experience. You think about John Carter, whenever he had to lay in that sarcophagus, he had to say like "ak oh hey" whatever, and like somehow he's just transferred. I mean, I know it's just a Disney movie, but like I think that
Right,
there's always little tidbits of truth in a lot of different movies out there. You know, whether it's the
right,
director that's trying to insert some kind of esoteric Easter egg or something like that. But dude,
right,
how sick would it be if you can just lay somewhere that is perfect for you to be able to travel back to wherever, whatever home is? You know,
right.
like my God. And because I feel like, you know, and everybody's probably felt this way at a time or two in their life where they felt like this wasn't home. You know, like you just can't find home. You know, it doesn't matter what state you live in, who you surround yourself with. You just some things just feel foreign, you know.
Right.
And
Yes.
why is it that so many people feel that? You know, could we
Right.
all be, you know, is this our first time incarnating as humans? Are we star seeds? Are we actually aliens trying to experience what human life is like? It could be
Right.
so many different damn
All those
things.
are valid possibilities. I mean, I don't think I think you're right. I mean, there's something going on there. We all, not all of us, some people seem to be very happy here and they fit right in, but a lot of us on this journey are uncomfortable. And that's why I moved. I'm trying to find that where my soul feels best on this planet, and what feels more familiar to me and like home, and there's something to that, absolutely. And I think all of the possibilities you just named, I think that they're all likely.
It's
Mm.
damn near possible for sure. So now you're out in Sedona, and man, I am so jealous of that. And that's and I was born in Arizona. I visit Arizona every single year. My parents live out here. I got grandparents out here. I got my cousin Sean and my aunt Kelly and stuff like that all out here, right? And and I've never been to Sedona. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Because you hear it's just one of the best places for vortexes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you experienced anything to do with Sedona and vortexes or anything like that?
Oh yeah. It doesn't take long. I mean, I've been coming out here for a few years before I decided to move here, but there's definitely measurable vortex sites, meaning like people bring equipment and like the electromagnetic frequencies are higher, whatever it is, like there's something tangibly measurable like in at these sites. And people have experience. I watch people break down in tears. I watch people have emotional, like spiritual breakthroughs. I've seen it. My girlfriend, she hosts retreats, and this is common, and there's a reason people come here, because you can really like accelerate your spiritual journey here, and that's what a lot of people like to do. So there is. Have you heard of Bradshaw Ranch? I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Skinwalker Ranch, but here in Sedona.
Hmm.
Very similar thing, same type of paranormal activity, aliens, cryptids, you name it. Like anything, you name it, it can happen out there. So we went out there a few times, and I interviewed one of the guys who frequents out there, and he's basically an expert on the ranch. And um, there is this windmill on the site that a team went in. So this windmill, and I've literally witnessed it do this. It won't be windy at all. It'll start spinning on its own. Sometimes it'll start rotating on its own, like it has a mind of its
Mm.
own. And nobody knows why. And like there literally won't be wind. It'll be the stillest day. And
Some
people
sort
have
of.
like people have gotten together and like used their mind like to try and get it to move and like have had success. And so they had a team out and measured this. And it measures the most powerful vortex in Sedona at this windmill site on Bradshaw Ranch. And there's footage out there. I mean, there's this guy he was out there investigating it, and there's these security cameras. And I don't know how it all happened. It just happened to be a perfect time. but there was my friend was out there investigating, and literally near that windmill was on camera. Literally, it looks like a being of light, like a humanoid white light, like figure, and it's standing there, and it's photographed clear as day. And I've seen the photo, and and it wasn't there, like he couldn't see it, but it was standing there in a photo, and next to this thing. And there's just story after story. There's documentaries about that place. It's out here. That place alone is worth coming to go investigate, you know?
Dude,
Sean,
go and
what is
meditate
that?
next to that thing, dude.
I mean, what
You know?
what do you think that is, Sean? Like in your mind, how does that process?
I don't know, dude. Because a lot of the things we talk about, has to do with consciousness, and so I feel like consciousness is infinite, and if it wants to express itself in some sort of light being next to a known portal, for people to see it, just to kind of let people know, especially those that are open to the information. And I feel like that has a lot to do with the things that are experienced. As you said, you go to these places and you name it, you can experience it, the things that you have been thinking about. And so, I don't know, maybe the portal itself just kind of activates whatever that is inside of you that is able to experience said things,
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
almost like uh, I don't know how to explain it, but just like this is where you go if you want to experience the thing that you've been
Right.
thinking
And
about,
and it's sometimes disappointing because sometimes it's not like every time. It's not Disney World. You know, sometimes
Mhm,
you literally will go there and it'll be the most normal night you've ever had.
mhm,
And it doesn't always happen, you know,
right.
but when you're on there and when you're there on an active night, it's pretty wild. Like you'll see ships in the sky, like my girlfriend filmed like literally like a whole fleet of craft. I'm not joking. It sounds like I'm making it up. I can send you guys the video and it'll blow your mind. Um, but that same night, when we were seeing all these ships in the sky, these craft, we were literally having something outside. It's pitch black outside. It's pitch black in Sedona. It's a dark sky community. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's
Yeah,
no light.
that's great.
Love those.
Um, so it's pitch black, and we're sitting in this circle, right? And you can't see anything outside of it without a flashlight. Like, I mean, nothing. Like zero visibility when there's no moon.
Mhm.
And something was quite literally throwing pebbles at us, like throwing pebbles into the circle. Like it could be Sasquatch, could be whatever, it could be whatever you want it to
Mhm,
be, right? But
mhm,
something was, we were like, what was that? And like you would literally hear a rock, and like, and it was something from outside of the circle was like tossing things and not trying to hurt us,
mhm.
but tossing things in there. And there's this abandoned house that's real like a haunted house, and the people do paranormal investigations there. And we were like, the door from that house was like literally like opening and closing, like you could hear it creaking, like as if somebody was.
Oh,
But dude, it was like one of the most active nights. We went back the next time with a group of people. They all heard the story, and virtually nothing happened. Like
Mm.
absolutely
mm,
nothing. And I realized like the when we went that one day when we had all the activity, it was like my fourth time there. And it was really the first time I've had that much activity. I had zero expectations that
Yep.
time because nothing had
Yeah.
happened. And we were just kind of going. It was like a last minute thing. It wasn't planned. No one really, there was no expectations. And it was just three of us. And we were just basically going because we didn't have anything else to do. And I don't
mm.
even think we were talking. Like it would just like everything happened. Whenever you stop trying to make it happen, it's the when
Mhm.
it happens, you know?
Yeah,
That's what you hear
yeah.
about the people experiencing like the CE5 kind of stuff too. You know,
Right,
like you
right,
gotta like don't try. There is no trying it. It's just
right,
being present. You know, don't
right.
have any
Mhm,
expectations. Just be right there in the moment. And
mhm.
that seems to open a lot of things up. As and you mentioned a fleet of ships. I needed a little bit more
Yeah,
detail on
so
that.
dude, you're
Like,
gonna think this. It sounds like I know, like you hear somebody say it, and like, oh, this guy's full of shit. But it's
Not
on
at all,
video.
actually.
no.
Not
It's
here,
on
dude.
video.
Not
So
here.
it was literally about 9 o'clock at night, and we're looking over the mountain, and you see like this like a white light, and then it would get really bright, and then it would, disappear, and then another one come in a different direction, and then next thing you know, there's like three of them show up in triangle formation, and then they start like going like they were moving in formation. Some of them were stopping, and the other one would pass each other and stop, and they were like doing these things in the sky, all on camera. It happened for almost an hour. She took basically an hour's worth of footage and got it down to 6 minutes of like the best parts, and then put it on
Yeah.
YouTube, and it ended up going viral. Like it just took off, and then she started getting interviewed, and she actually was just recently on Ancient Aliens, and like it was like
What?
um yeah, so anyway, like she's that's her whole story. Is she just happens to go where and get footage. She's an astrophotographer, and she captures footage, like some amazing footage of these craft, and that's how she got picked up. The Travel Channel did a thing on her. She got on Ancient Aliens, and but she was the one who like happens to catch this fleet, and it's just like
That's
uh
amazing.
there's something there. But I'll send you guys a video, like legit. I'll just remind me. I'll send you it's on her YouTube,
Definitely.
and just watch it, and just you see for yourself.
I would love that. Yeah, man, because I swear we've seen some shit out in the skies, and there is no, I mean, you can't explain it away. Not with anything that you think is going on.
Right.
It's like there's no alien, or there's no helicopter or airplane or satellite that is moving in these strange ways.
Right.
And I don't know what to make of it. Like
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think is actually going on? Like especially the ones that seem almost like they're orb-like, like just a light or something. Do you think that is
Right.
like consciousness traveling? What do you think is going on there?
I think that's possible. I think there's light ships like plasmoids and stuff you hear about. This is stuff that's going around. Like everything's kind of being disclosed under the table. You can find the articles about this stuff. Scientists are taking it seriously now, and they're even writing articles now how they have to rethink physics, like, or do we need to rethink physics and stuff? Because I mean, physics doesn't explain this multidimensional reality and what
No.
everybody's experiencing. And stuff that's being caught on camera that you just have to, it's not AI sometimes, and you have to find an explanation for it. But I think that what we're experiencing sometimes is quite literally an orb-like craft that has its own consciousness, maybe. And it sounds silly, but maybe not. Like maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they're actually a fleet of Pleiadians. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But there is a movie out there called The Green Beautiful. You've never heard of it, probably. It's a French movie that's been literally banned in the U.S. for reasons that are I don't know why technically, the technicalities, but it's you have to watch it in subtitles. We put it on our Patreon. I can send you the link. It's not on any streaming platform, but it's about these humans that live on another planet, and they're much more advanced, and they come to Earth and help unlock people and awaken people one by one. But the people on Earth think they're aliens because they're humans, but they're literally from another planet. But how they travel here is in a sphere of white light, so they look like an orb when they travel. And so and people think this movie is like just some of the heaviest disclosure. If they watch it, it's like oh shit, this movie was so close to the truth. They were like, get it off the damn streaming platforms. They don't even want us thinking this direction, right? So they literally they don't get in a craft on their planet. They just like get into this sphere of light that they generate themselves, and then they travel here that way, and then they show up, and it literally looks like an orb of light going through the sky until they land, and then it's just a human that comes out of it. What's interesting is in the movie, they can't drink our water. They're appalled that we eat meat. They can't believe that we even do, and our air is so toxic and all stuff, and they can't just believe, and they can't even get to us or communicate with us. Like it's very difficult. But one group of them ends up in Australia where the Aboriginals are, and the Aboriginals never stopped speaking telepathy. They never stopped living the way that we should all be living. And these extraterrestrial humans were able to communicate with the tribes, the Aboriginals, because they're the only ones on the planet that didn't forget telepathy. And they were able to communicate with them. And then I'm like, there's something to that,
Holy shit. Yeah, I definitely want to watch that. And
We're
looked it
watching
up.
that, dude.
Yeah,
this weekend.
It says that it came out in 96, so it's been out for a hot minute.
Yeah. And there's a weird tip about the movie, I have to tell you. So the subtitles are really fast, like almost like you think, oh, I can read that fast. No, you can't. Like you
No, you
gotta
can't. No,
watch.
you can't.
You when I send you the link, it literally gives you an option of what speed to play the movie in, and you gotta watch it at a point 0.5 speed slower than usual to even read the subtitles because otherwise it's like impossibly fast. It actually doesn't ruin the movie at all. You don't notice it, but it's just slow enough so you can read the subtitles. It's actually crucial. Like if otherwise you'd be like turn it off because you're just like I can't keep up with it. It's stressful.
Oh my God. Yeah, I
Or
would
just put
love
it
that.
on mute, dude, and forget the subtitles and just take it in visually, dude, and make up your own story,
Yeah, right.
That's probably good too.
Man, I love talking about all of this. This is all my favorite shit. All like
Well,
literally this entire episode is all my favorite things to talk about. I love it.
let me leave you with one more story about the Aboriginals, if we have time.
Yeah, go
Of
ahead, man.
course.
So here in Sedona, it was a whole accident, not an accident, but synchronicity. I came here to speak at a conference last October, and I was staying with a friend of mine, but I wasn't supposed to stay with him. I was supposed to stay with someone else. Like the whole arrangements like changed last minute. And I go stay with this guy. He's a friend of mine. I don't know him that well, but he is a friend, like somebody. I'm like, okay, free place to stay. He lives with this 85-year-old guy. And I start talking to this guy, and it turns out he claims that he's a quantum physicist, and he worked 40 years for the shadow government. And he told me that he was brought in from the Air Force, I believe, and to help work on the technology that they were experimenting with the Philadelphia experiment. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, that's Stranger Things
Yeah.
shit right there, dude.
Yeah. So basically, he told me it's a dimensional shift technology, what they call dimensional shift technology, like which literally like you shift out of this dimension, and it's like a form of time travel, teleportation. And he said that they were having issues with the technology. And he said the reason that they was because they lacked a psychic navigator, a remote viewer, for lack of a better term. They knew how to use the technology, but they didn't know how to control where they were going. And if you don't know how to control where you're going, you could literally end up phasing back into inside of a solid. And that's what was happening to those people. So he was brought in with after numerous testing and all this stuff to help work on perfect this technology. He said by the time he joined when he joined the program, this device was the size of a big room, and by the time he left the program, it was the size of your cell phone, and it was installed on all of the U.S. space fleet. He says.
Whoa.
And he goes, that's how they travel and remain hidden. They travel out of phase. So it's a dimensional shift technology. So they're not even traveling in our visible light spectrum. They don't even technically need cloaking technology. They're just traveling in a different frequency. So we don't see them.
We're blind to it anyways. That's interesting.
Yeah. But here's where it gets weird. And this is where the Aboriginals come in. So he said one of the other issues they had, these crash retrievals. This guy's telling me all this stuff. I didn't know I was going to stay at his house. He just starts telling me all this stuff because he finds out what I do. But he would not allow me to interview him on camera because he has NDAs and all this stuff. And
Makes sense.
he did. He literally, and he was told that if he ever shares that interview with somebody on film, that person wouldn't make it across the street alive with the footage anyway. So he might as well not do it. So he was like scared to even like let me film him for my safety.
Wow.
Even though I think that was just more like a scare tactic,
Could have been.
But either way, that's why he won't go on film. But he told me that, so we have these crashed retrievals, these UFOs, and some of them don't have doors and they didn't know how to get inside. And this was a big problem because they were trying to reverse engineer them. So he claims that him and some of their top men, that their top most psychic intuitive men, the best remote viewers and all this stuff, like their top men were sent to go train with the Aboriginals. And he had to train 9 months in Africa, 9 months on Easter Island, and 9 months in Australia with these tribes, because these tribes know how they use the Earth's natural portal system, like Bigfoot is what he said. He goes, they know how to use the natural portal system. They speak telepathy. They can also bilocate and teleport their physical body. And this is something, a lost art that all humans can do, but they haven't forgotten. So these men had to train with these tribes until they learn how to physically teleport their body and essentially bilocate inside of the craft so they can get inside of it. And he said after almost 3 years of training, he came back and he passed all the tests from the tribes, and he came back and said they were successful. These men were able to quite literally get into a state of meditation and bilocate or teleport literally inside this craft that they were trying to get inside of, and like reverse engineer it from the inside out. This is what this
Wow.
guy was telling me. And he's like, this is how like sophisticated this stuff is. And he said that the Aboriginals on this planet are the closest thing to ETs than we ever get, you know?
Wow.
Wow, that is amazing. And
Yeah.
dude, I've looked extensively into the Philadelphia experiment and the Montauk project. They kind of go together.
Right.
And dude, you hear about that story. I can't remember what was the name of the ship, the USS, whatever the fuck.
Eldridge.
Eldridge,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. And to where they're trying to like teleport themselves, but whenever they come back, they're like literally stuck into the walls of the ship because
Yeah.
it was what was it? They came back at the wrong time or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what he said. He goes, remote viewing. He goes, you can't even think about doing any of this stuff unless you're a master remote viewer. And he goes, you have to be able to remote view before you can teleport. You have to be able to see a location and any coordinate you're given with such pinpoint accuracy that you literally know where your feet are going to land once you get to the state of the point of literally like molecular dissociation and like reappearing somewhere else. He made it sound like it was absolutely possible. And like he said, you could do it too. But he goes, you gotta also, he said, If you have a nefarious bone in your body, it won't work. He goes, it
Makes sense.
only works in tandem with the heart. Like these people, like if some dark group was to try and teleport, they would never literally be able to do it. That's why they spend trillions of dollars on the technology to do it artificially, because they're horrible people, right?
Makes
He said you
sense.
have to have the purest intention, so much so that like God, like you can't lie to yourself about anything. You just have to be pure.
Mhm.
And if you're traveling for the right reasons, then you can do it. But he said if you or want to do it to like show off to somebody or for anything nefarious or teleport inside this room to steal something, like it literally won't work. You will literally never get to that state. And he just couldn't stress enough. Like it has to come from the purest intention possible. Is the only way you can do it.
Wow.
Dude,
That's coming
yes.
from a military guy,
Military
telling
guy.
you it's got to go through the heart. It's like,
Yeah.
what? That's, I don't know. There might be something to that, man.
Dude, I tell you what, too. So I've been rewatching the episodes of Stranger Things because the new season's about to getting ready to come out, and
Yeah.
that's
Right,
like me
right.
and my daughter's thing. We watch Stranger Things at
Mhm.
we'll binge the entire season in one day. So I've been trying to catch up on it, and I'm watching the most recent season that came out like a couple years ago, and the first couple of episodes is whenever 11 is literally doing like telepathy and telekinesis, and I mean, of course, she's like murdering people too, but there's that. But
Yeah.
the
Right.
idea of doing things and being able to remote view just like with a blindfold on, right?
Right.
And the teacher or whatever is like, "Where's number 6 at?" And
Yeah.
the guy's like, he's like, "All right, I see him," and then he gets all shocked and realizes, I'm not going to give it away in case anybody hasn't seen it, but it is
Right.
crazy that is like even a TV show, and most
Right.
people would probably look at that and be like, "Oh, that's just TV," because
Right.
we've all watched a movie or a TV show and thought, "Man, I wish that was real." I would give anything to have that be real. And like I always mention like my
Most of
favorite.
the time it is. Yeah.
Right, right. And I always mention like one of my favorite childhood movies is Matilda, right? Like just to be
Right.
able to have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind
That
of
movie,
power
I
is
used to love that movie.
fucking
Yeah.
awesome, right? And
Right.
and what we're learning now is that those things are closer to the truth than we thought. And a lot
Right.
of these things are a lot more possible than we initially thought. Maybe not exactly how we thought it was going to be. Whenever
Right.
like I always like bring up like Harry Potter and his wand. Like you're not going to see a fucking lightning bolt shoot out of your wand or anything like that. But that's not to say
Right.
that through your intention and through your alignment and your awareness that you can't direct some kind of energy out of a wand even,
Right. Right. No, I agree. And the whole remote viewing thing and like moving things with your mind, what he was explaining to me is like Yeah, the CIA has been doing it for a long time, and they've spent trillions of dollars, and basically they've perfected it, and they do remote influencing. He said they can, like, if they get a group of people all with the same intention, they could literally get somebody in another room to get up and open a door. They can make them do it just by remote
Whoa.
influencing, and they've done it. And they've done it. They're like it's like these hypnotic suggestions, but it's all done
Mhm.
through remote viewing from a separate location.
Remote
But he said,
influencing.
when,
That is crazy.
yeah, but then he said, yeah, remote influencing, and he said he made it sound very matter of fact. It works, but he said also what they can do is remote. They can kill people that way too. You can, and there's a
Of course.
movie, I forgot what it's called. My girlfriend and I just scrolled past it last night on Amazon Prime. It's like from the 80s. It's about these remote viewer teams, these guys who were literally killing people with remote viewing, and that's what the movie's about. And like, but in the movie, it's like super exaggerated, and the guy's head explodes. Like they focus on this one guy,
Mhm.
and they all imagine his head exploding, and it says his head explodes in the other room. But I'm like,
I think I
dude,
know what movie you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, but that's real. Like they put this stuff out in the movies, and yeah, but remote viewing, remote influencing, he said it's like it is by far the most highly sought after ability. He's like, if you can do that, even like naturally as a kid or something, they know, and they'll like they track these kids and the people with these abilities, and they'll pull them into these programs, and they're read into these secret programs and whatever. They know who's who, and if you start coming online and start remote viewing places or even facilities, they have psychics in place. They have like remote viewing security essentially, and
Mhm.
they can literally pinpoint it back to you if you're remote viewing. It's like it literally creates like a thread, an energetic thread that they can trace back to you if you try to remote view like a government facility or something.
Wow. Have you ever experienced that? Like if you're half in and out of sleep or you're about to fall asleep, but you're still consciously aware and you feel like you see an image of anything. Have you ever accidentally remote viewed?
Um, Maybe. I mean, I've seen images, but I've never actually thought about it as accidentally remote viewing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like I've experienced that. Like just today I laid down for like a little nap. Like I was so exhausted after work and I don't even know if I fully fell asleep. Like it was only maybe 15 minutes, but I felt like I saw a couple images like fade in and fade out and I'm like, "What is that?" Like I'm not thinking of these things. Like at one point I saw like I don't know if it was a city bus or a school bus, but it was just like the randomest
right.
set of imagery and I'm like, I
It,
wonder if that's what's happening, you know? And as you're talking about it, it's just like I don't know, man. I feel like these things like you said are the truth. These are things that are happening.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule that out. Definitely, I would say that's a possibility, but I don't know.
Well, I got to be more careful then, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Psychic
I don't think I
security
don't
out there, you know?
I don't you're if that's happening in an unconscious state, I don't think you have to worry about it. But it's people that actually a friend of mine who's a professional remote viewer, she tried to remote view the backside of the moon, and she said it was the one and only target she's ever gotten where she was actually approached by authorities, somebody of authority, and basically threatened, scared into not doing that. Like, don't go there.
How do they
And
Whoa.
she doesn't even
know?
talk about it. It scared her so much she won't even tell that story on camera. Like and I asked her, I can say this because it's not me, and I'm not disclosing her name. Um, I said, what were you actually remote viewing? She goes, I wanted to see how they really got to the moon, and 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 I was like, well, how did they? What did you see? And she's like, well, it wasn't a rocket. It was a sophisticated technology, almost like a teleportation, like a jump room. Like it, and
Makes sense.
that's what she saw. And she like had like pages of data on it and stuff. And she says the one and only target she was ever, um, they tracked her down and told her, don't share that
I
information.
mean, why? Like, do you know exactly how they would even know though? Like, what is there a technology that sees something that's going on in the ether, or what do you think is happening?
There has to be. I don't know unless there's other like remote viewers or other people like a psychic security team that knows they can sense when somebody's like trying to penetrate that field
Mhm.
and they just track it back. Like I think we just don't like these people. at the highest levels, the elites or whoever, they know us much better than we know ourselves. If you
Mm.
ever want to know what's possible, read the book 334 Lies. It's the most disturbing thing ever, but it's a former high chair of the Illuminati basically escaped the order and wrote a book, and he talks about what goes on in there, and it's the most disturbing book. It's hard to get through, but if you get to the end, talks about what these people literally call themselves wizards.
Hmm.
Um, and they do things that look like magic, and they have abilities that literally we would think aren't supposed to be possible. Basically, he said that like Harry Potter is like a documentary. They could that stuff's real.
Right.
Oh my God.
Um,
Wow.
but he said that it's quite literally would look like magic to us, but it's actually very simple once you unlock the occult knowledge to do it. Like anyone can do it, but that all the information is being held from us. So we have to discover it on our own if we even are curious to go down that path.
That's what
Hmm.
this show's all about, baby. That we are
Man,
always trying to get
we're
into
getting
all the
there.
symbolism, and we're actually
Yeah,
reading this book called the 78 Degrees of Wisdom. It's all about like the deeper, more symbolic meanings of each
right.
tarot card. Fucking mind blowing. I mean, you're talking about like things and details that are being brought up that you would have never even noticed, and
Right,
it is just as occult as it gets, and I love it.
right. Yeah. Yeah, this guy, I mean, he was in that book, he was talking about um like at the highest level, once you get past 33 degrees, it keeps going, actually like 40, 41 or something. And they say it's cutthroat. Everybody wants to kill each other, and the only way that you like make it to the top is like they literally will send people to kill you. And if because you're always trying to kill your competition, it gets that evil. He said that like you want to hold the high chair because everybody has to do what you say. But if you get killed, if you didn't see it psychically, if you didn't pick up on it, then you weren't worthy enough to have the high chair. So if you get killed by somebody that's sent after you, then that's you weren't worthy of that position anyway. And he said it's so you're always looking over your shoulder. And what these guys do is literally bury themselves alive for days, weeks at a time. They leave their body, and if they come back, that's how they get up. That's how they raise a degree. And like this is this whistleblower was talking about. He said, and I forgot what he called the Mystic Village at the Vatican. That's where they do this. Like there'll be some of these guys will reach such an state of enlightenment that they'll go to this mystic village in the Vatican and just literally choose to leave this body, and they'll just move on to the next life. They don't even die. They just choose to leave, and it's a place like a safe haven for them to go do that.
Oh
And
my
it's like,
God.
dude, it's a whole next level shit out there.
Dude, supposedly that's what Sadhguru's wife did. That's what I hear. That like she was like, yeah, it's my time. I don't want to be here anymore. I think she was like she had cancer, or she was sick or something like that, and she just
Right.
didn't want to put up with it anymore. And Sadhguru like guided her through a ceremony, and a lot of people were
Right.
questioning him, saying he killed her, and I'm like, no, dude, this is a real thing. Like you can make the decision to leave your body. I mean, I'm not very well versed in it, but I'm aware that
Right.
it's a real thing for sure, right?
Right.
And man, there's just so much shit we really don't know, dude. And I can't
Hmm.
like I
Yeah.
just want to be a sponge and soak every single bit
I
of it
know.
up.
And I'll leave you with this. The one thing he did say in the book a few times was the only thing that these people are scared of is humans, us remembering, because we like if we all remember who we are, they know our power collectively, and it like literally would strip them of their power because everything they're doing isn't in integrity, right? And like there's this whole like actual spiritual war aspect of this thing. And if we remembered
Hmm.
our light and remembered who we were, it literally strips them of their power. And that's the one thing that he said that is the one and only thing that anybody in the highest level fears is us literally waking up to that ability, remembering that.
A hundred
Wow.
percent believe
And
that.
then he said also, and there's no way that nobody will, from the outside will ever take this control system down from the outside. He said, you have to become one of them. You have to be in bed with one of them. You have to think like one of them. You have to literally become one of them. You have to know them. And it has to be taken down from the inside. So he goes, next, if you see people like on a world stage, like that you wouldn't think should be together, he said, there's always there's always something going on more than meets the eye, basically.
Wow, of course.
So I'm just, yeah, I mean, you can use any example that you want, but if you see somebody that you like with somebody that you know is bad, and why are they hanging out? Well, if you're trying to take down and undermine an entire ancient cabal, you got to literally become one of them and think like them, and then use their tactics to bring them down. Basically,
Wow.
is what he
Play-
said in the book.
Play
Dude,
their
basically,
game, right?
basically Kanye and Kim Kardashian. That never made sense to me. I'm just throwing that out there. You know.
Oh, and by the way, was that movie called Scanners? Is that the one you were talking
Yes,
about?
that was it.
Yes,
Scanners.
I knew it. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Good shit.
Wow, I gotta
Yes.
watch that now.
That was gonna
Couple of
bother
movies.
me. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, this was awesome. We went way longer than I thought, but I was loving this.
No, dude, you're great. We
happens.
appreciate it big time. Well, look, at the end of every episode, we like to do a tarot reading, and usually the tarot cards seem to sync up with whatever we were talking about. Just magically, synchronistically, it happens, and we started doing it just out of curiosity one day, and it just blew our mind way too many times, and we are like, all right, it's a staple of the show. And
Yep.
so, if that's all right with
Absolutely.
you, we would like
Just
to do
a
a little.
single
Yeah,
card.
absolutely.
Single
I'm
card.
excited by it. Let's do it.
All right, cool. Well, we got the Page of Cups, which
Interesting.
we don't get very often. So
No. The Page of
see what that's
Cups.
about.
We like to pull out our little cheat book right here. So
Yeah, I
we're-
would too. I'm not good with tarot cards. So.
Well,
we're
we
still
just started
learning.
really trying to
Yeah.
dig deep into the symbolism and all of that, and so it's going to take a minute, I think.
Hey, it's awesome. You're even doing it though. I love it.
The Page of Cups. It says, the messenger of love brings good news. Be open to new emotional experiences. Pages are considered to be the messengers in the tarot. The Page of Cups the Page of Cups card's youthful energy may represent a child or younger person in your life, or perhaps a message from your own inner child urging you to have more fun. The young page in this card wears a fancy floral tunic and flowing scarf around his head. Hand on hip, he gives a playful look to the fish that emerges from the cup in his hand. There is an element of flirtation, mystery, and playfulness between these two. The page stands on land as water flows behind him, representing the double elements of earth and water indicated in this card. There's another little message. We'd like to read the spiritual message. It says, get in touch with your inner child by finding playful ways of expressing yourself. Listen to your instincts about any messages or inspiration that flows into your life now. If you choose to begin new creative projects, approach them with the curiosity of your inner child. Learn to find awe in small moments.
Dude, and you were just telling us about the story where you were, you experienced the
God as a baby.
possibly, yeah, the God that's in you that was in
Right.
the form of this child.
Made me
you were
think that
trying to
too.
help.
Yeah, and I think that card though maybe it had something to do with this conversation, but it's actually something I needed to hear. Really, that has something to do with what's going on with me personally right now. Spot on. Like it was actually I really kind of need to hear that right now. So
That's
Perfect.
awesome, man.
Love
Yeah.
to hear it, dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so good.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It's magic how it works, dude. I mean,
Right.
we're still learning about how it works, why it works. Synchronicity. There's
Right.
just something magical about it. And what we found out, dude, is that over the course of the past, especially the past few episodes, we find that we're essentially our own synchronicity generators. And
Yeah, that makes sense.
If life doesn't have any real meaning, that only the meaning that it has is the meaning that you apply to it, then why wouldn't you just try and be a synchronicity generator all the time then?
Right.
I love that. I've never heard that, and I absolutely love that, and that resonates. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, dude.
Right.
It really does.
Wow. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, look, Tyler, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, dude. This
Yeah.
was, and to think we were thinking about canceling this show tonight.
It
So
was
dumb.
funny because I actually got a really good hit because I forgot about it. And I was like, oh, we should still do it even if Aaron's not here, whatever. And I got a really good hit. Like, no, this could be a really like good conversation and whatever. And I was just like, yeah, we should do it. And I'm glad you said yeah, because I was actually in the mood for it,
Dude,
Dude,
I was
just stay in that flow state, dude.
And
I was
then
like
do
typing
that.
out, I don't know, maybe we should. And then I was like, nah,
Right.
he said he's
Right.
down. I'm gonna pull my shit together then too.
right. Here's my book, Bleed Through Tales from Another Timeline.
All right.
If anyone's interested in that.
Awesome.
And then I also we're in the middle of a major secret space program documentary right now. We've been filming for 3 years, and it's almost finished. and we are releasing it in a theater, a private screening here on January 9th in Sedona. And you guys might be interested in it. You probably would
Of
love the film.
course.
But
Yep.
if anybody in your audience is interested, that's coming out on January 9th, and it's going to eventually make it to Amazon Prime and stuff like that. But we're doing a private screening here in Sedona. And if you want to come out and watch that, you can go to journeytotruth.online and you can find a ticket there for that.
May
Heck
have to
yeah,
make that
dude.
trip, Sean.
I mean, I think we're getting signs. You know what I mean? Just the last couple days, at
Dude.
least.
Well,
so.
there's literally only like a handful of seats left in the theater. So if you did want to come, it's $15. But um, if you really felt compelled, then you can come. Don't feel obligated, obviously. But
No obligation at all. It sounds awesome.
yeah, I'll send you the link and stuff. You can just go to our website though if you want, journeytotruth.online. But this was a lot of fun, man. I
was.
really actually love what you guys are doing. It's refreshing. I do a lot of interviews, but the angle you guys are, your direction, everything, your vibe, everything, it's good stuff, man. It's
I
good stuff.
appreciate that, man.
It's good-hearted stuff, and I would do this anytime. So
Awesome, man. Yeah, whenever your film comes out, you want to talk about it more or whatever, just let
yeah,
us know,
and
man. You got so much information, dude. I was having a great time.
awesome. Yeah, well, thank you.
Well, look, yeah, and I will drop all the notes down, all of your information, your book and your website and your social media, all that fun jazz, all your podcast information. All of those are going to be down in the show notes below for anybody that wants to be able to go and follow Journey to Truth. Highly suggest it. Very open-minded, awesome people, and I love your guys' show. I love the vibe. You're the man, dude. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to doing it again because we will. And if not, we'll have you on our show. We can just do a whole fun thing.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, for anybody that wants to be able to get these shows a couple of days in advance, completely commercial free, and to be able to see the video, come over to patreon.com/metapmystics. That link is down in the show notes below. It's the best way to be able to support the show. We have multiple different tiers. If you want to come join us every Wednesday night for the live show, that is the Wonder Wednesday tier. I don't know why that was just slipping my mind there, but that's the Wonder Wednesday tier. It's $8.88 a month. You get 4, sometimes 5 live shows a month, plus all of the shows days in advance, completely commercial free. If you're not interested in joining the live shows, then we have a $3.33 tier per month. So it's a great way to be able to support the show. If you're not interested in that, but you still want to be able to support, we have multiple social medias out there: TikTok, Instagram. It's a great way to be able to come and support us, or you can leave us a review or a comment, 5 stars, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Great way to be able to send this show right up into the heavenly ether, into the algorithm of the conscious mind that is one damn thing anyway, right?
Oh,
so
dude.
we appreciate everybody that's already done that. And Sean, any parting words for you, sir?
Oh man, this was just a great episode, dude. You know, I love these episodes where I hear the information that I knew I needed, but I just didn't even know was out there, and so I'm just so happy this happened, dude. This was so
Right.
fun, man. So
So
fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it was a pleasure meeting you. And this is honestly very enjoyable. One of the most enjoyable interviews I've done in a long time. So
Sweet.
thanks, dude. It's a lot of fun. Well, look, we'll definitely do it again. But if Journey to Truth came here and he taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.
Stay weird.
Damn, I got super deep on that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did it feel like things were, like for me, dude, it felt like, because, you hear people saying like, oh, this is an activation meditation or like different things like that. But like, I actually felt like that's what was going on. Like I could see light pulsating, and then it like almost like, I don't know, like streaked across and then like into me, and it just felt like, at least in my understanding of what that experience was, at least what it was for me, was it was just like almost unlocking parts of my mind that I didn't even know, like dormant parts of my mind. And it was just this light just coming in. That I think is one of the most fascinating things, because sometimes it happens, but it doesn't happen a lot. But whenever whatever she was saying as far as like think of someone that brings you joy, think about, you know, the abundance or just these, and every time I would think about the thing, I would see the light and it would like glow and it would like it would it would get bright and then come back down and then the light would just go and it would like come like toward me, you know? That was the most visual meditation I've had in a long time. Like not the same visual as in, you know, a guided meditation where I'm visualizing things, but like actually seeing something happening, you know,
Yeah,
just like
that was
even if it is just light flickering or moving around, like there was shit going on, dude.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah, I felt that. You know, I got this weird sensation of like I started to get the spins, like the meditation spins, which are good spins.
Mm-hmm.
Um but I got it from an angle as if I was um outside of and on top of the Milky Way galaxy is what I guess I perceived it to be. But I saw it. I saw the ground, aka like the galaxy below me,
Mm-hmm.
spinning in a clockwise motion, and I was almost like I could spin with it, or I could just sit there and observe it, and I can turn it on and
Mm-hmm.
turn it off, and it was pretty
Yep.
cool. Um, and then it asked to find that one person that you love or whatever, and so I thought of my kids, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like imagine what you want your future to look like, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, everybody wants to find their match. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants to
Mm-hmm.
find their divine like counterpart, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I have no idea what she's gonna look like, you know. I don't know, you know, what nationality, what color hair. I mean, I really don't even have a preference. Like, I'm not
That's
one of
probably a
those.
good way to go about it,
Yeah, I'm not one of
actually.
those to where I'm like, oh, I'm only gonna date a blonde. I don't. I really like.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter to me. You know,
Mhm.
it really doesn't. But I did get a little sense of, and I could just be hoping, but I did get a little, like, I saw like a flash of a face. And dude, she looks so much like Olsen, that played Scarlet Witch.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm. I don't
Elizabeth Olsen, I think her name is.
okay.
And I was like, that would work. I'd be okay with
Yep.
that, you
There you
know?
go, dude. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Good to be
It's
hopeful, you know?
I mean, whatever. Could just be something, but I don't know. That's why I love meditation, because you get like
Mhm.
weird things that you're not necessarily expecting. And I
Mhm.
felt like I was like zoning in on like a blue pearl earring.
Interesting.
For some reason that was just like making itself abundantly obvious to me. I don't know what that's in reference to. Maybe I'm going to see somebody wearing it, or it's going to be a
So it's just an
synchronistic
earring
thing.
by itself then?
Yeah, not attached to an ear even.
Oh,
It
okay.
was just, but I
Okay.
knew that it was like a little blue pearl earring thing.
Interesting.
So we'll keep that documented in case that happens one
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
even know if
dude.
there's such thing as a blue
For
pearl,
sure.
but I mean, I'm sure that
Mhm.
they exist, you know, even if they're like little fake ones. Who cares?
I can almost guarantee you're going to experience something having to, since you are a synchronicity generator yourself, you know, I have a feeling there's going to be an experience fairly soon that has to do with some type of earring like that, you know.
That would be
Who
cool.
knows?
That
Who
would be
knows?
cool. Yeah. So, yeah, overall really good meditation. God, that
Mhm.
was a really deep one. And I was getting a lot of visuals too. I don't
Yeah.
always get like major visuals, but on the
Mhm.
ones that like where it's super visual, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not even in this
That's when you
fucking
know.
body anymore, dude." You
Yeah, you're in a
know?
different dimension, man. Just
Yeah.
going for the ride, man.
I'm astral projecting now.
Yeah, dude. It actually felt like some things were being activated, man. I don't know. That's the only way I can express that. Like it was just like shedding light on areas of my being, you know? I don't
And
know.
you know what's funny too is that if you think that's silly, then that's probably not what was happening. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? You're almost blocking it if you think that's stupid.
Right.
You know, but I
Exactly.
mean, hey, dude, you're just there for the experience. You don't really know what it means. You don't even want to attach a definition to it, but you
Mhm.
experience what you experienced, and we'll see what
Yeah.
comes of it.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing about it, man, because I go into every meditation with absolutely no expectation. Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna try to visualize something, or if I'm just gonna allow things to happen, or I just go with the flow, dude. And it's just so cool. Just the things that do happen, like the visuals that I was getting were unlike what I normally would get. You know, like it almost looked like there was a diamond like spinning. You know, I don't know. It was super strange. It wasn't something I was imagining. It was just I was just observing it, you know? And not in my third eye. Not like in the, "Oh, visualize this," and you can visualize an apple, but, like, in behind the eyelids, dude. There's gotta be a term for that, you know what I mean? That way, it's so much easier to discern or describe, the type of visualization you're using, you know? But,
Yeah,
just
there's I'm trying to remember what it's called. Oh, that's right. Hold on, let me because you said something and I want to look it up real quick.
okay.
Double
Yeah, dude,
terminated.
that was a good one, man. I felt like there was something to it too, because she sounded like a little assertive. She's like, "Hold it," you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
"This is for your own good. Do it," you
Yeah,
know?
I was like, "Damn, she's like ordering us around over here."
Yeah, man.
Um, there's this thing I was back whenever we were still shooting over at Christie's.
Mhm.
And we tripped one night and we went outside and she was like being all funny and like walking around saying, "This is all fucking fake. What are we doing here?" It
Right.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting on the back of like on the trunk of my car, just like enjoying it. I'm laughing my ass off. It's, I'm seeing
Mhm.
paparazzi and she's
Yep.
saying that everything's fake. So it's almost materializing in front of me that like, oh, of course that's
Mhm.
fake. It just
Right.
reminded me of, on Beetlejuice, the fake land that he's in, the little,
The
the,
model?
yeah, the model set
Yeah,
where
yeah.
all the trees and the grass and everything looks all fake and everything. And that's
Yeah.
what I was like picturing as the world.
Yeah.
It was fun. But as I was sitting there, I had my hands like just sitting here like this for whatever reason. I would
Mhm.
just kind of unconsciously doing it.
Yeah.
And she goes, "What are you doing with your hands?" And then I became conscious of like what I was doing. And I was almost like levitating this crystal. It was a double pointed crystal. And I didn't know didn't even know they made
Oh,
double
right.
pointed crystals. And so
Uh-huh.
I looked up what that actually was, and it's called a double terminated crystal.
Oh, right.
And
That's right. Mhm.
I wanted to show you. I'm sure you know what it looks like, but
Mhm.
just wanted to show here real quick. And so whenever I was like sitting there in meditation, I felt like one of these crystals spinning around in my hand. Imagine that
Mhm.
pointed right side up, and
Yeah.
it's just like fucking rotating in my hand, and my energy is manipulating it and speeding it up. And it
Mhm.
was just the coolest thing. Is that so? Whenever you said that, like, what'd you say, like a
Like it looked like a
diamond or something?
diamond. Like it not a diamond like a in a like a the shape diamond,
Oh,
you know?
got you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So not necessarily a crystal or anything like that, but just the shape of a diamond just rotating kind of, you
Interesting.
know? Yeah. Who knows, man? This is fun shit.
I wonder if, like, you know, I'm not gonna get too weird. Yeah, fuck it, I will.
Do it.
I almost wonder if that's like the job of other light beings or aliens or something like that to create like materialistic objects at will.
Who's to say, dude? I mean, anything's possible at this point, dude. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, as
I don't
far as
know.
we're coming to find out, man.
We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And
Because
what's funny is that
as soon as
I
go ahead.
said that there was he goes, you don't know what you don't know. And I said, that's a wise philosopher. And he goes, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Socrates. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I guess he did say it first.
Yeah.
I
You
was
were gonna
referring to
try to take
myself.
credit. Yeah, I
He called me out on
remember,
that one.
yeah. He got you.
I was
He
like,
got
all
you.
right. I mean, we'll throw it up to
Yeah.
Socrates then. That's cool.
Yeah. That guy was on his shit, dude. He knew his shit, man. You
Love
know?
that guy. Such a
Yes. We'll
and you
definitely
can
have to
just
get him back.
you can just tell a good guy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like just a good heart and a curious mind. Those are my favorite people.
Oh man, and what he, experienced, dude, like imagine going to work the next day. Just like
No,
and
I
then
don't
people
want
want
to.
to talk about the weather and you're like, I just hung out with the devil for a few hours and he showed me that, that these parasites are controlling your mind and like that wasn't something he was expecting. That was definitely I bet you it wasn't even anything he thought of within the last few years, if at all. Like he probably maybe never thought about that, and all of a sudden it's just like part of his experience.
Well, dude, and I
You
think
know?
that there's a lot of people out there that are having like these strange, wild, otherworldly experiences.
Mhm.
And, you know, you don't know what to do with it. And you don't even know who to talk to about it because
Yeah.
most people are probably going to think you're crazy, you know, and because most people are locked into just the mundane reality. You know,
Mhm.
wake up, brush your teeth, you know, put a little deodorant on, get ready for work, get the kids on the bus, go to work, exhausted. Hopefully somebody makes something to eat so you ain't got to get up off your ass to go make something to eat. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like the same shit on repeat. And people almost turn like zombified in that moment. And it's unfortunate because, you know, there's so much to experience. And there's no way, no fucking way we are put here just to work and sleep and eat and raise kids. Like there is more to life than that.
Well, you know, it's interesting, you know, that you say that the people that are just experiencing the mundane, they're not even thinking about what else is possible, right? And so they experience just that. You know, the things that they know is that's all there is to it, then that's what they experience.
It's
You
almost
know?
like a
Like
form of
there's a lot
punishment.
of what's that?
It's almost like a form of punishment. Like they're punishing themselves for
Well, not
like,
even because they don't know they don't know more than that. They don't know, not to say that they're not smarter. And what I'm saying is that they don't know any different. Like that is the reality. There is no more than that. And so it's not necessarily that they're locked into something. It's more so that they're manifesting that. You
yeah.
know, like
Yeah, it's crazy
unknowingly.
because you hear about so many people, you know, they're like, all right, well, you know, everybody says that there's a right way to go about life. You know, you got to get through high school, then go to college, and hopefully you meet a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever in college. And, you know, once you got that degree, then you get the good job, and then maybe you get
Buy a
married, and
house.
then you buy a house, and then you have some kids. And people just expect that that's what happiness looks like until they complete all of those goals and they're sitting in that house and they don't have the connection that they want
Right.
to with their person. They, you know, they thought that this was going to be everything and happily ever after. The problem is happily ever after is it's not a thing. You know, that's something you got to keep on working at and
Yet
keep
there's a
on.
model for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
And dude, that's every
Who-
like happy romantic movie I've ever made,
Yeah.
you know?
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
that's unrealistic.
That's the programming, dude.
Right.
You know?
And somehow like magic is stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's
man,
like, what are we talking about?
look at all the shit that we believe that is unrealistic. And this is the stuff that you're gonna call out and say doesn't exist? Come on now.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah,
on.
dude. Just different levels of understanding, man. That's it.
Yeah. Well, hey dude, I'm happy that, you know, we're I almost not this is not a conceited this is not a conceited thing at all. So I don't want people to take it the wrong way. I'm happy that we're like, at least out of the people that we know, we're those people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Yeah, dude.
we're
I know exactly what you mean.
we're the ones that are starting the journey to a lot
Yep.
of like all the people in our personal lives. You know,
Mhm.
there's nobody else in my life that's like, hey, dude, how was your mushroom trip? They could give a
Right.
fuck less, right?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, hey, have you ever experienced anything UFO or alien related?
Mhm.
Nobody's asking me that. They're saying, hey, weather's nice today. Or, you know, hey, what do you think about this politician? I'm like, dude, if I hear another goddamn thing about any politician, I'm going to blow my brains out. Like,
God.
I cannot stand politics. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so over it. It's not even funny. It is such, it is a energy drainer. It is,
Yeah.
it is a succubus. And I can't stand
Yep.
it. And people get so caught up in it. And I was one of them.
And
I
you're
was-
weird if you don't pay attention to it.
and you're
You
part
know
of the
what I mean?
problem if you don't vote. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just trying to manifest the best future I can, but you know, I guess I was supposed to be putting that energy into someone else's dream. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, people, I don't know. I mean, you know what? Here we are too. And I'm always, I used to always get on you like, why are you so worried about other people? Now here I am talking about it.
Welcome to the life of an empath, my dude.
People just don't get it. You know? Why do you need people to get it? You just need to get it.
Because I just want them to, dude. You know? It would be for their own good. Anyways. It would benefit them greatly.
It would. I believe that. So all right, the one. This is our last show. With me and Sean not being in the same house. So
yes, dude.
Before I, go over, and I'm gonna be hanging out over at your place for like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah,
I'm sure we're gonna do 3 or 4 shows, and it's gonna be
At
a fun
least.
time, dude.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it.
So, all right, the one. We love you, and we will see you on the flip side.
Bye, guys.